It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
But yes, so back to Jason, and I was thinking about this. There's got to be a huge jump when you're training versus teaching, and now he owns his own gym, you know?
Yeah.
And the way that like your skill adapts and develops, and then like your students. And so like when you said he got a new level,
Yes.
like, yeah, that makes total sense.
Yes.
If you're there every day and you're seeing like, oh, this is what everybody is struggling with. If we do it this way, and then now your whole gym is getting better, like that's incredible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of like unlocking the code. You know what I mean? Like unlocking the code. Like once you figure that out, and it's come down with even when anything in life, you know what I mean? Like, okay, we've been doing, it's like a routine, you know what I mean? You're doing the same thing over and over and over, but it comes to a point, it's like, you get bored about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like saying
to things.
You know what I mean?
Or
Like
blind.
it's like your same routine. It's like, no, we got to do something different. And I think he figured that out. Like, okay, no, we need to do something different. And like he mentioned, he's like, I broke the code.
He said that.
He said
That's
that.
awesome.
I was like, I like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I said, I like that. And he's like, now we're doing like every student. If you a white belt, they're like a blue, like right away. Like,
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not taking that long. And I was like, man, you kind of became the bridge. You know what I mean? Like a bridge for other person.
Yeah.
Because you're not doing that training every day, the same thing. And you know how we were when you started. Remember, you know, I was still always look at that. When you came in, I was like, man, Colton, he's huge. You know what I mean? He's gonna dominate me quick. But then you figure out and then you're like, you know what I mean? You're like, what happened, bud?
Yeah.
And it was like,
I remember it.
And it was always the same thing. But you know, along the ways of years, you kind of figure out things and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I do remember the day we rolled. It was just like right there next door.
Yeah.
I was super impressed. I think you were a blue belt at the time. I think still are. I think we both are. And I rolled hard and I was strong, but I remember you sitting on top of me and like curling my arm back, and I'm like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was fun, you know. Like I wasn't mad or nothing, but I was like, wow, that was. How did he do that?
Yes.
And then it pulled me more into it because Marcos can do that.
Yes.
I can learn how to do that.
Yeah.
And so it happened a lot. It still happens a lot.
Oh, I believe that. Even I miss jiu-jitsu, but right now with the business and everything, I don't get to do that a lot. Probably every 6 months, once in a while. But I love it. And it's always there. You know what I mean? But I think in the future I'll get back into it. Yeah. Because that's something that I really fall in love with.
Oh, yeah. And it's one of those things you can do forever. It's the longevity thing. You could be 60, 70, 80.
Yes.
I think you could.
Yes.
But
yes.
Yeah, you could train that specific way at that age, and people, if you have a good gym, and we have great gyms around here.
Oh, yeah.
That people will respect your level of speed and strength and whatnot. So you could train forever.
Keep it slow on me, man.
Yeah. Which is still a great workout.
Yes.
Like people kind of talk down on flow rolling. Like I don't know if you're not doing it right or whatnot, but like I think the flow rolls might be better than the actual like all out kill, intense rolls.
Yes.
For technique and breathing and just keeping both partners safe and feeling out like, I don't know, you've probably done this where you're rolling with someone and you get them in something. And then you get them in something again, the same thing, and you don't want to do that again. So like you tell yourself, okay, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And then you go on to work on something else that you're not so good at, and then it gives them a little advantage, and it just makes a better roll for everybody.
That's what I love about it, man. That's what I love about it, and it's just part of life too. You know what I mean? You kind of figure out things that things are not working out, and do I see it that way? No, I have to make some changes to make it better for me.
Yeah.
And you have to make those changes, you know. So it just kind of goes around a little bit with jiu-jitsu, with you know, I love golfing as well.
Really?
You know what I mean? I kind of fall in love with it, and
Really?
you know, I have some good days, I got some bad days, but it relates at the same thing. You know, you're gonna have some good days, you're gonna have some bad days, but at the end of the day, it's like you kind of overcome that. You kind of, you know, I feel like it's just a day. It's not gonna be always like this.
Right.
And I'm just like, I'm gonna try my best today. And then next time I go, just hitting it like it's crazy, like I'm a pro, but I'm not. But it's a good day.
Right.
So
which that, you know, that mindset goes both ways.
Yeah.
It's I like it better on the bad days.
Yeah.
Because you're like, this will pass, you know, and you're like, thank God. But also, it's like the good times too. But it's more when you have that thought, or at least when I have that thought, it's more of like a gratitude, like take it in.
Yes.
Because this good isn't going to stay. Like the whole family's here, everybody's alive and happy, and we're celebrating a birthday or a holiday or whatever. I better take this in.
Yes.
Because this will end, and I don't know what's going to come next. You know?
And that's that gratitude, all that. It's always, that's what kind of reminds you. You know what I mean? And that's a good point of looking at it, like how you see it. You know what I mean? And I think we should all do that. You know, because it is. You know, sometimes we just focus on the problem instead of being grateful of what we have.
Right. Like I just moved in with my in-laws, and so I'm thinking like all the bad stuff. You know, like I'm embarrassed, I'm a loser, and all this stuff. And it's like, dude, my in-laws are awesome. They're super sweet. They've helped us out so much. We get to spend evenings with them. Yeah. And Kelsey gets to get like closer with her parents.
Yes.
I've decluttered more crap than I've ever decluttered in my life. It's been insane. I mean, we lived at that house for 10 years. Wow. So it's like, imagine the stuff that can accumulate.
Oh, yeah.
Got rid of 90% of it. So, and then thankfully I have a good mindset. Like, this is opportunity, like a very rare opportunity that a lot of people don't get. So I better take advantage of it. Yes. Because it's a window, and it's going to go. It will pass at some point. So what are the advantages? I better tap into them quick. Yes. Before they evaporate or whatever. So
how'd that go? I know you mentioned you guys were moving. I know it's hard. I
don't
like moving because it's you know what I mean. It's overwhelming. I could tell. I help a lot of my friends move, and it's like, man, they're good friends. Yeah. Love them. But, man, I don't ever want to move. You know what I mean?
No, dude. I'm a big guy. I get called to move all the time. They're like, can you come help move the fridge? I'm like, it's heavy for me, too.
Yeah, exactly. So I forgot to ask you. I know it went overwhelming, but I'm glad you already set in and stuff with your family. Yeah. That's awesome, man, That's awesome to, and sometimes you get to know them even better, you know what I mean?
Oh, most definitely.
So.
Like, I'm seeing all of her family, who I've seen, and we've been married 10 years next month.
10 years already? Wow, man.
And we dated 4 years before that or something like that. So I've known him for almost 2 decades. Yeah. But it's always been like holidays or birthdays or just kind of random, family vacations. Yeah. But when you see someone day in, day out, you see different versions of them, like quite a bit quicker, and they've all been good but interesting to me.
Yes.
I'm like, okay. Yeah. This is Susan, Kelsey's mom. Like, this is Susan in the morning, getting ready for work. It's a little bit different, just like I'm a little bit different. So that has been interesting. Yes. And I tell Kels, like, so much of what you've told me about your childhood makes sense to me now. Like, makes total sense. Yes. I'm a bedroom guy. Like, if I'm going to hang out in the house, like, I go to my bedroom because that's where my brother and I would go as kids. Like, living room or kitchen, like, we'd go in and get out. Yeah. She's like a living room person. She's always like, why aren't we hanging out in the living room? I'm like, because the bedroom's got the computer, the TV. Yeah. But now I see, like, oh, the living room for her family is like, that's where they gather. Yes. It's like where everybody comes together, and it makes so much sense to me. Like, no wonder you want to be out here. It's kind of fun. Yes. So just small little things like that that you just learn, that there's no other way to learn besides be where I am.
Yeah, that's a good point of, you could see that they're like a family, like united. Are they like really close and stuff?
Oh, very close. Yeah, very close.
So being outside, that's what they want to do, you know.
Yeah.
Like, hey, don't be in your room. Come out here.
Exactly. Yeah. Like if
It's taking you out of your comfort zone. 'Cause
Definitely.
you know what I mean?
Definitely.
But there's like, oh, that's pretty cool, you know what I
Right.
mean? So
The great thing about them is, yes, I am out of my comfort zone, but they're like so accommodating that
Yes.
it's safe. Like I keep, I'm like up like this, like
Yeah.
I'm gonna fight something, like someone's
Yeah.
gonna attack me, and okay, well, no one's done that yet, so I'll just kind of come down. And now I'm like more and more like, this is nice. I like this,
It's
so
not
it's
bad. It's
not bad at all. No,
Yeah.
it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Some of the like idiosyncrasies of their family.
Yes.
And it's like I can adapt to that right now. Like
Yeah.
it may not be something I do forever,
Yeah.
but like right now I could. So
Yeah, that's
it's
awesome.
worked out well. And
Where you guys living now? Well, in Joplin? Or?
it's just outside. It's just outside Galena.
Oh, that's
so it's
cool.
actually closer to Joplin than
Oh,
we
cool.
were. Yeah, we
That's-
were like right between Pittsburgh and Joplin, which is like equal distance. But now we're much closer to Joplin. So,
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I saw that you guys got flooded over there.
Oh my gosh! What
It's like a river through 7th Street.
through downtown?
Yeah.
Like underwater, like 12 to 24 inches of water.
No way.
You see the videos?
Yeah, I saw one. this
Crazy
morning.
looking. Yeah.
Wow.
And that was all of where I think I know what video we're looking at, but that all of that footage was right where Galena Days was a day before.
Yes.
The day
Wow.
and so they cleared that out overnight and everything, but that less than 24 hours later it's underwater.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Marty, Kelsey's dad has, and I guess Susan, have lived in Galena their whole lives, like back in, I don't know, I don't want to date them, but
Yeah.
went pretty far
Yeah.
back. And I said, have you ever seen it like that? They said they've never seen,
happened before.
They've seen, floods in here and there on different
Yeah.
streets. And
But not like how that.
no, not the main street. They were saying the buildings downtown, like the old brick-and-mortar buildings were flooded,
Wow.
which is crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was, because you said in Galena, I was like, man, that was flooded.
Yeah.
Yeah, from last night and stuff. But
A lot of people message me like, "Don't you live in Galena?" I'm like, "I live around it." Yes.
Yeah.
Like, did you get flooded? And I'm like, "No, thankfully not."
I'm out
But-
here with my boat. and
Yeah,
stuff.
you probably could have. Like, you probably could have just
Where
scooted along.
Canoeing and stuff.
Yeah.
but-
It's nuts. It's yeah.
It's crazy.
I saw on the radar, because it was probably 3:00 in the afternoon, sunny, a little breezy, and on the radar it was like at 6:00. There was just this little icon of like a storm. I'm like, are you kidding? Like, look around. Like, it's nothing. And within 30 minutes, it got super dark. The wind, like, I have some footage on my phone of like these trees whipping, and right then I knew like one of these trees is coming up.
Oh wow.
Oh, for sure. And they live in kind of like a pretty heavily wooded area.
Yeah.
Tons of trees, like big trees got knocked down.
So my wife, I was watching the TV
Yeah.
at the living room, and I didn't have my ears, my earplugs now, and so I didn't have it on, so I was just watching at the TV.
Oh no.
And she was like, "Is that the sirens?"
Oh.
And I was like, "What?" And she was like, she was doing laundry, so she comes running.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Turn off the TV." So I turned it off, and there was a sirens. And then I look out the door, those trees were like moving.
They are.
And then my street was already like a river.
Oh no.
We never get flooded because it's like has like a little bump.
Yeah.
So the water won't go up.
Right.
But it was so bad, and I was like, wow. I was like, I wasn't expecting this, but
I wasn't either.
yeah. And then I just saw this morning at Galena. I'm like, man, that's crazy.
It just happened so fast. We watch Ryan Hall on YouTube. You ever watch him?
No.
If there's ever like a storm, and I love Doug Hetty,
Yeah.
and sometimes Doug will go live, so
Yeah.
I'll have him going. But Ryan Hall's a weatherman YouTuber,
Okay.
and he'll go live, and his like structure is he has access to all like the weather cams, and he has wireless storm chasers in the
Yeah.
area that he'll like jump
Yeah.
from camera to camera.
Oh, cool.
So he has like crazy good data.
Oh,
But-
wow.
Yeah, but we had him on. And as soon as I turned him on, he's got this big radar of Joplin. I'm like, oh, great.
Yeah.
And it's, it's spinning and showing. There's purple and red, which is like, that's not good.
Yeah.
But they went to the traffic cams. It's like you couldn't even see.
Wow.
You could see like a little bit of headlights of cars, and they're just creeping along, and the water's just blasting out the sides.
Wow.
It was somewhere around Rangeline, I think, which is, heavily populated and traffic area. It's like, oh my gosh. Thankfully, like no tornadoes, or it was just more of like
It was the wind and
mm-hmm.
too much. And that's why I wanted my wife, like, put on the TV, put at Doug, you know.
Yeah.
And he never went live. He never popped up on TV. It was like,
What's
where
going
you at
on?
when you need him, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? But
I take that as a good sign.
yeah.
If Doug goes
exactly.
live, I'm like,
yeah,
oh,
that's what I'm
crap.
saying. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's not that bad, then,
Right.
you know what I mean? Because
Right.
he's not in. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. Sometimes you don't, you know, I have my little puppies and I had to let them out because my neighbor, he's repairing the wall, like the our fence,
Mm-hmm.
and so I don't have a wall, so I gotta let my dogs out
Oh, yeah.
because they're gonna be running everywhere.
Right.
So my wife was like, "You let them out because they don't listen to me," and I was like, "Okay."
Fine.
So like, come on, you know. And then as soon as they walked in, like 30 minutes later, that's when everything just went crazy.
And I guess that's the Midwest. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just where we live, and that's how weather goes. But
Yes.
boy, I definitely underestimated it. I was like,
Me too.
maybe a sprinkle. And,
Man, are we done with waters or what?
nope, this weekend. But it's
Again?
like, yep, got more.
Man,
I
come
know.
on, man.
It just won't stop. But the blackberries are going to be awesome.
Yeah?
I'm excited about that.
So you grow blackberries? And stuff, or
Well,
what?
they grow wild on my dad's farm.
Oh, yeah?
They'll just kind of pop up. Like, we have some trees that have been down for decades. They love that. They'll pop up all over that. These big, you know,
Oh, wow.
bush, briar pet. What do you call it? Big bushes or whatever.
Yeah.
Like big.
Does
whatever.
your parents live in Baxter? Or what?
They live in Quapaw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
they got a cattle farm out in Quapaw.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it's like when we were growing up, it was always, you know, Casey and I riding 4-wheelers in the pasture, and it's like, oh, I'm kind of hungry. Pull over, get some berries,
Yeah.
and go on.
Man, that's be fun.
Oh, it's super fun.
Yeah.
And the last, probably since we've been married, it's been like a ritual or whatever to go on Kelsey's birthday, like early in the morning, because blackberry season's like like middle of June is
yeah?
like when it's the best.
Oh,
and her
wow.
birthday's June 16th.
Wow.
So we'll go
So
in the morning,
they
pick.
coming up.
Oh yeah. In
Yeah.
fact, my dad just sent me a picture of a handful, and I'm like, nice.
Yeah.
I need to get out there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We'll just pick until you're tired of picking.
That'd be nice, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. Make some jams. Mom makes jams. Makes pie, blackberry pie.
Oh,
just
wow.
all kinds of stuff like that.
Man.
The farmer's wife type thing.
I can't believe why you're not, you know, a little heavier more, but
Oh,
you know,
bro, I
gotta
gotta
work out.
I gotta earn that. Oh, anytime going to mom's house, it's like, oh boy, what are we gonna eat today?
Yeah.
And that's seriously like, we'll be talking at her house or whatever, just having a good time, and suddenly the oven goes off. It's like cinnamon rolls just appear.
What?
I was like, when did you do that? Like,
Yeah.
we've been talking,
Yeah,
you know,
this
we've
whole
been,
time.
yeah, and all of a sudden, here's some fresh cinnamon rolls. Like,
Yeah.
what am I supposed to do?
Hey, that's
I eat it.
awesome.
That's what I do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, you know what I mean? It's only you and your brother, or you have more brothers?
Just me and Casey. Mhm.
Oh, yeah?
Mhm.
Wow. I never asked you that question. I know you since downstream back in the day, you know what I mean?
I was thinking about that.
You know, I was coming from Fort Lindenwood,
Mm-hmm.
and then from Fort Lindenwood, we end up going to Lake of the Ozark
Okay.
this weekend.
Oh yeah.
And in my way back on Saturday night, I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about how we got to meet each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, back
I was too.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I remember our conversations all the time. Like when we, you know, I was in the kitchen and you were in the front, but we had our little moments
Oh,
where
yeah.
we kind of talk. Like, you know, you always kind of share with me, you know, I'm going to California.
Right. Yeah.
I'm gonna learn more about, you know, with the cameras and all this, and we kind of share our dreams and things that we wanted to do, and I wanted to go into business,
Yeah.
and it was pretty cool, you know. Just kind of went back and remind, and what you mentioned, that gratitude, you know, and like, man, that's pretty cool. In all these years, where are we at?
Right.
You know, like we talked about it, but now we're living it.
Right. I love to see that progression. Love it. Because a lot of people talk it, but don't really do anything.
Yes.
And I mean, for you, for sure,
Yes.
you made it big time happen.
No, you too, man. You know
I'm
what
still
I mean?
grinding. I'm grinding.
No, because the way I see it, like to me, like seeing you, like because it was not only one time. You went like a couple of summers. You went to Hollywood, and you're like, hey, I'm going back. You know, I'm learning all these things, and just watching that. You know what I mean? Watching you grow, and I know sometimes people don't see that, but I do because I pay attention to those little details, and to see where you're at right now, and having your own podcast. And I know you and your wife have a good team because you know it's not an accident that you got to meet her.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No doubt.
It was meant to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now you guys have projects together, you guys work together, and you guys are growing, man. And this is you guys are gonna do big stuff. I promise you that.
I agree. Amen. And thank you for those kind words. That means a lot, dude.
Yes.
Like we've been through a lot. Because you were my manager at Legends.
Yes.
Remember, that's where I first met you.
Yes.
And you were button down shirt tucked in, dude.
Yeah.
Like, this is Marcos. This is it was you and a girl that would swap or whatever.
Yes.
It's like, all right.
Yeah.
And we worked at Legends together. And then you went to Red Oak.
Yep.
And you were like, hey, there's a serving position. You should put in for it. And I was like, okay, I will.
Yes.
And then I followed you over to Red Oak.
Yep.
I remember like early on in my Red Oak career, you're like, come here. I'm like, what? He goes, you got to get faster. And I was like, what? You're like, you got to like get faster with your orders and like everything. I'm like, okay. And I did.
Yeah.
But it was cool to like look out for me in that moment. Because like the transition from Legends was like a sports bar.
Yes.
Which is, you know, what chaos.
Yes.
Versus Red Oak, which is like, it's timing, it's, you know, presentation, it's, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's fine dining.
More detail.
A lot more detail.
Yes.
And you're like, just go faster. I'm like, okay.
But you know why I did it, didn't you?
Because you love me.
Well, that too, but because I saw potential in you.
Yeah.
I always saw it as soon as you walked in, like, man, this kid, he got something. And I know that he's going to do good things. And you became one of the best servers, you know what I mean? And once you went to Red Oak, it took you to another level.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It
Because
did.
only back then, I don't know now, but back then it's like they only select, you had to stand out.
Absolutely.
And you had that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that it was pretty cool. It was fun.
Was fun.
Red Oak was the funnest to me that I would still remember with Roach, Steven.
Yep.
You know what I mean? All them
yeah.
just doing tacos in there. You
Yep.
know, we always enjoy good food and good laughs. So it's a good
so much
memory
fun.
there, man.
Yeah. The back of the house was cool. Front of the house was cool. Like I worked there quite a while, so there was like different ups and downs but that first, like a year, I'd say, like remember Emilio?
Yes.
Me and Emilio, like he taught me a lot, and I felt like we became like the duo that we could handle whatever. And there was Joe was in there, and Chris, and I think Chris came later actually, but it was so much fun. And we used to be closed on Sunday, Monday.
Yes.
Remember that? And then we'd have like our Christmas parties and stuff. So yeah, there was a lot. Red Oak was fun.
When was the last year you worked there?
2018, I want to say.
Yeah.
So I think I started in 2012-ish.
Yep.
And I did like a year, maybe two.
Yes.
Went to California, came back, and restarted in like 2016. And then worked a couple more years.
Yeah.
And then dunked out.
Yeah.
When I went up to John Barry one night and I was like, dude, I got an idea for a documentary. And he was just smashed out of his mind. And I could tell he was in a good mood. So I'm like, here I go.
That was the right time.
Yeah, it was right. He goes, really? Well, let's get together. And I was like, perfect.
Yes.
And then that started the process of me leaving.
Yeah.
Once he was like, we will fund this. It's a great idea. And then I was like, okay, well, now I got to go.
Yeah. I never had a chance to watch that.
Really?
You should send it to me.
I bet you would enjoy it just because, working there and you'd like see like a lot of old faces. I interviewed Lucas and Hector.
Oh, wow.
During the Red Oak portion.
Yeah.
So like seeing them is cool. And then all the different, like they did the beef and the bees and like all that kind of stuff is kind of fun to see. And then you get the history of.
How long it took you to film that?
It took me About the whole summer.
The
So
whole
I think
summer.
I started in like around March, getting ready, and I think I shot. Oh, that's right, because July was the 10-year anniversary.
yeah, I
So I was
remember.
like leading up to that, and I filmed a lot of that stuff around the 10-year, and then I think I delivered that thing around August or September. So it took me a good like 4 or 5 months to
Yeah.
do it all.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it turned, dude, it was.
I bet that was like overwhelmed, like, you
It
know what I mean, a
was.
lot of pressure, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like you that is your name going there.
Right.
You know what I mean? You want to do the best you can.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I would imagine what you had to go through.
Oh, it was good though. It was
Yeah.
like a strenuous workout.
Yeah.
So like while you're doing it, you're like, oh
Yeah.
my God, am I gonna make this? You know.
Yeah.
I remember telling my buddy when I was editing it. So I pretty much had all the footage, and I was proud of the footage we had.
Yeah.
But as I'm editing it, like one day I'm like, this is the best documentary ever.
Yeah.
And then the next day I'm like, this is the worst documentary ever. I just find all the flaws, you know. And then the
Yeah.
next day I'm like, this is gonna rock. Everyone's gonna love this. And the next day it's like, they're gonna throw this in the trash.
So you're going back and forth.
Oh yeah, it was just a whirlwind because I was just seeing it so much. I mean, it was like I'd wake up, 8 a.m., get coffee, Kels go off to work, and I would sit down, and I would not move until she came home. And if I was lucky, I'd go to jiu-jitsu to like clear my mind.
Yes.
And then come back, and then all evening until midnight or whenever I got tired,
Yeah.
call it a day, and then repeat, and then
Wow.
repeat. Oh man, it was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was good though.
Yeah.
Like the product was good. I was proud of that. Skill level, things I learned, and just being able to do that, and being that being the thing that kind of propelled me to start doing my own stuff. I
Yes.
felt good about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man. We got to start somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about how I see things. Like, we have to start from the bottom,
Mhm.
you know, to start from the bottom to appreciate the process, you know, because in the process, I kind of feel like that is what kind of makes you who you are. And well, have in my experience and over the times where we started Ghetto Tacos, you know, and where we at right now, it's like, you know, at this time, I've been in business for 8 years, and you know, sometimes I still want to throw the towel, man.
Sure.
You know, because it's like you go to certain levels, and those levels is a different pressure.
Yes.
And it's like somebody told me, it's like if you look at a big storage with 38 feet, you know, the water to get to the 20 store, the only way to get up there is with pressure.
Oh, right. Like in a controlled space, it has the only way to rise is increase the pressure.
Exactly.
I like that metaphor.
And I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
And I feel it now because, you know what I mean, like recently we got new projects for this year that, you know, that we're ready for. And those doors are open, but they come with pressure.
Sure.
And we're I tell my wife we're hitting, you know, back and forth, but I said the reason why is because we're going to another level.
Right.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
I said if we overcome the one before, we could overcome this one too.
Mhm.
We just gotta adapt to it. We gotta figure it out. We gotta work it out. What we needed to adjust.
Yeah.
What we need to change. And it's just a lot of things, but I think to me it's about if it's no pressure, it's no fun. It's like saying there's no pain, or what are they saying?
No pain, no gain.
No, exactly. It's
Yeah.
kind of the same thing.
Right.
It's like if you don't feel that way, it's just like you get bored.
Right.
It's like
playing a video game on God mode. It's fun for 30 seconds.
Yes.
Because you're laughing, and then it's like, well, this sucks. Like,
Yeah.
there's no challenge. There's no, limitations.
Yes. And that's kind of where it's been, you know what I mean? And I know more things are coming, but but it's fun though. You know what I mean? I get to enjoy it. You know what I mean? And do it what we can.
Mm-hmm. I love the thing when you go up those levels, and I'm kind of experiencing that in a weird, like, backwards way, but I'm feeling that pressure. It's like a pressure change. But the one thing that I've learned and that I really appreciate is that so often, I mean, God or the creator, the universe, whatever you want to use, it's like, it's almost like they prepare the level change specifically for what you need.
Yes.
So it's like, okay, we're going to the next level. And for me, it's like, but you have too much crap, physical crap. You need to declutter. And that, you know, we'll just say God put me in that position of like, in order to continue, like, you got to get rid of a lot of stuff. Exactly. And I'm like, why? I don't want to, you know, it's hard.
Yes.
And it's like, listen, this is the level that we're on. This is what it requires. And I love that because it's pretty clear if you're paying attention, like, what is required of you for that level increase.
That's it, yeah.
And that's definitely where I am. It sounds like, you know, throughout Ghetto's history, there's like different challenges. First it was the truck, and I'm sure there was a bunch of learning there in the truck, how to do, where to go, what to serve, all that kind of stuff.
Well, we started under a tent.
Oh, even further.
Yes, we started under a tent.
You may pull that mic just a little bit closer to you. You can stay back like that, but
there.
Bring her over there. Perfect. Yep, there you go.
Yeah, we started under a tent, and it's kind of funny because, you know, that grill was from an old grill. Like, we cut that grill.
Oh,
yeah,
you customized
like
it.
the flat top was from an old one. Like, it was already not even working anymore, and man, I only had $1,200, and you know, but you know, a lot in the process, you know, remember I used to sell cars and you know,
I forgot about that.
You know what I mean? But back then, a lot of people like saw something in me, and they're like, "Hey, we want to go into business. I want you to be my partner," and that's kind of how that came about. But it came to a point that I got tired doing that, and at that time, like, I'm a believer, man. I'm a Christian, and you know, God took me to a process, and it was for 3 years. Like, you know, I was like, I don't know what you teaching me in this process, but I know you prepare me for something bigger than myself that I never seen. I don't see it, but I'm gonna trust the process. Right. And in 2016, you know, I asked God, I said, I want to start something new, but I want to start it with almost nothing. And he said, okay,
got you.
You're gonna start selling tacos, and you know, you're gonna start this grill. And my son-in-law, he built it for me, Kirk. My other nephew, they welded. They're starting to putting it together for me, but yes, we started with $1,200. Bought the tent, bought the ice chest, and we just went with it. You know, our first event was in 2016 for Maple Leaf. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
remember you ever been to Maple Leaf?
Yeah, it's a cool spot.
Okay, yeah. So that was our first place that we went
with the tent.
Under the tent.
Oh man.
And bro,
because it's lined with trucks.
So back then there was no taco trucks or no one selling tacos back then.
Okay, that's good.
So I got the idea from California because you know, I'm from LA. Right. And so it's like, you know, I saw my brother-in-law always buying this taco guy, and he was always cook. I was like, man, this is a good idea. I need to do that.
Who doesn't like tacos?
Yeah, who doesn't like tacos? So that's kind of, you know, God was already putting everything together. Right. But it was in his perfect time, not in my time. So then we did that event, and one of my buddies let me borrow his fridge, and that fridge was tall, bro. And I would say I put like 7 pans of steak, 5 pans of chicken. It was just to the top, bro. And you know, back then was like 4 tacos for $6, something like that. And we sold out at 3 o'clock. Our line, they would say there was like an hour and a half.
Whoa.
You had to wait to get to us.
Right.
So by 3:30 we sold out, and we were meeting one of my wife's cousin in Tulsa at the Hard Rock, and so we got there, and her cousin's like, "Hey, tell me about how that event go," and my wife, first thing she said, bro, she said, "I'm tired doing those Ghetto Tacos," and I was sitting down.
Oh.
I was sitting down. I said, "What you said?"
Yeah.
And she said, "I'm tired doing those Ghetto Tacos." And I said, "That is our name, because we didn't start it with Ghetto Tacos.
It was just
Marco's
Tacos.
yes. And it was like Ghetto Tacos, and I was like, that is our name." So
That's amazing.
So when our first event was in 2017 at Mac Club,
Oh yeah.
when he was in Web City.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
So yeah, that's when you started.
That was pretty close to when I started. Yeah.
So it was January 7th, 2017, when we started Ghetto's Tacos, under Ghetto's Tacos.
That's amazing.
So we used to do like setting up the cooker and stuff, push it. We had to put it in a trailer, and then that day, some guy stopped by, and you know, look at how God works.
Yeah.
This guy stopped by. He's like, "Can I buy 15 tacos?" And I said,
Like, do you train here?
No,
Right.
Yeah. Tell him, I was like, "Are you part of the seminar?" Because it was a seminar.
Oh, that's right. Probably
It was a seminar.
JW or
So
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, "No," and I was like, "Well," and I was kind of like, almost didn't.
Yeah.
He's like, "Man, let me just buy 15 tacos," and I was like, "Okay." So I sold him the 15 tacos. He came back about 10-15 minutes, and he gives me his card. He's like, "I'm a promoter for MMA fights in the Joplin Memorial Hall." He said, "We're having some fights next weekend.
Oh,
I
perfect.
want you to sell your tacos. These tacos are really good."
Yeah.
And he said, "I want you to sell your tacos there." And I said, "Okay." And we talked it out, and that was our second event.
That's amazing.
And then after that, it's like, man, we give our cards with like a weddings, and
Right.
everything started to kind of, other people got to know us and stuff. But yeah, we went from our tent to our trailer, and then our trailer to the restaurant that we have in Web City, and then our second truck, our food truck that we have now.
You got 2 trucks?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yes, I got a food truck.
The trailer is what sits out on Main on Tuesdays.
Correct.
But you got like a truck.
An actual food truck.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, like a Centos,
Yeah.
We end up buying the truck.
Okay.
And I had a guy build it for me in Springfield.
That's awesome.
And so we kind of went. The trailer is 16 foot. That one's a 20 foot. So
the truck is 20.
It's a 20.
Wow.
So I have 2 grills.
Whoa.
I got 2 big a fridge, so we got bigger room and stuff, so we could do like big shows and stuff
like
like
the concerts. Like where were you? You were at like a concert this past weekend, weren't you?
So like I mentioned, I went to Fort Leonard Wood to the military base, and from there we went to the Lake of the Ozark, and so it was pretty good. It was our first time. Not good location, but that's part of it. Like I said, you're never gonna, you're gonna do big, but you start from there. But after that, before next week, we're going to Tacos and Tequila. You ever heard Tacos?
Oh, I have. Yeah, I think Saul was telling me about that.
Yes.
Or somebody was like, we got to go to this.
Yes.
It's in Kansas City?
Yeah. Kansas. So that's next week.
Oof, that sounds fun.
So Nelly's going to be there.
Oh, nice.
And we just found out Little John's going to be there.
Whoa.
A lot of those rappers. So last year they had like 16,000 people.
Holy cow.
Yes, it's packed. Jason was there last year.
Yeah, I remember him telling me, or maybe I saw pictures from him being there or something.
Yes. And our line, bro,
Oh,
was 2 hours and a half.
worth it.
they had to wait to get to our line to serve them.
Yeah.
That's how long the line was.
That's insane.
It was unbelievable. From 2:00 afternoon to 10:30, we never stopped. Non-stop.
And you selling out at those types of
Man, we come
events?
prepared, bud.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to sell out.
No.
I'm there to, you know what I mean, to
Yeah.
really do what we can do and stuff. So it's been tacos and tequilas coming up, and then we also have Rocklahoma is coming up too in August. I did that when I first got my trailer, and it was an experience. We were not ready for it. We didn't do what we wanted to do, but I think now we're ready.
Yeah.
And so we're doing it this year, and right at the inside the stage. And they said that it's like about 50,000 people in there.
Because I remember, I think the first time you told me that you got put in like a not great spot.
Yes.
So if you're next to the stage,
and like inside this, where the stage,
or you get your earplugs,
I
and
think
get your
so.
gloves ready, dude.
Yes.
That's gonna
So
be
I
wild.
talked to a few of the vendors, and they said that be prepared. He said by 9:00 you're just tired because you're just like bam, bam, selling.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, no, I'm taking 2 groups.
Nice.
I'm gonna rotate them.
Oh, that's a good idea.
We're gonna, I know what I'm gonna do. Already planning it out. Like I said, you kind of learn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Figure out things will work, and so we're doing big shows this year. So I'm excited, man. You
That's
know what I mean?
cool.
So
yeah.
we just got into the Bice Blues and Barbecue.
Oh, okay. Where's that at?
That's in Arkansas.
That's right.
Last year they had 400,000 bikers come. 400,000.
That's a lot.
So
of people.
And I've been in
bikes.
And I've been applying for this place for 5 years, bro.
What do they say? Like, do they just run out of spots? Is that
well?
They deny you and say, "Oh, we don't."
Well,
have any
this time, look at how like I said, it's always God's time.
Right.
I always let God do His thing, not me. And I prayed about it and stuff, and I was like, you will know when it's the right time. I didn't even apply this year.
Oh.
And we just got an email saying, you're highly recommended. We want you in.
Wow.
So I
That's
didn't
incredible.
So I didn't even apply for it.
Right.
The year that I wasn't even gonna apply for it.
Forget it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So someone said, like, you really come really highly recommended. I was like, thank you, Jesus.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Because it's your time.
Right.
And so it's an awesome, and we're getting ready to do that as well. So that's a big deal.
That's
For
huge.
me is, knowing from where I started to where we at now, it's amazing, man. It's just been an awesome journey so far where we're at.
Yeah, it's been amazing to watch. And I poke in randomly. There was a time where you were doing I think it was Wednesdays at Jolly Fox.
Yes.
And Casey was working there, so I'd be up there. I'm like, oh, there's Marcos, and then a couple of weeks ago you were at the CrossFit or train gym.
Yes.
There's Marcos, so I could bump into you, at these places.
It's like it's everywhere or what?
It feels like it.
Yeah.
No, I love it, so
Yeah.
I'm happy about it.
Yeah.
But to see the progress over the years, like, oh, he's over here now. Oh, he's over here, and to talk about being ready and stuff. If you would have got the bikes and barbecue 5 years ago, maybe it would have been too much.
It would have been too much, man.
Right. But the timing is like,
is the timing?
You feel good. You feel like, okay, it's a lot of people, but I think we can do it, or I know we can do it.
Yes, and I think to me it's about it's your team, knowing your people. You know what I mean? Like, I've been in the restaurant business for almost 30 years, and it's about surrounding yourself with the right team and building this right team.
Yeah. And
right now we have a great team. We have a team, especially my daughter. She was in the law enforcement for 13 years.
Oh, wow.
And so we were at a point that, that's why the reason why I added the second truck, because we're growing and I can't do it by myself anymore.
Yeah.
So I offered her the job. I said, at one point, this is going to be yours.
Yeah.
This is a family business, but I want to teach you. Are you willing to take this chance? And I was like, you think about it, talk to your husband, and you let me know. And we had a meeting, and she said, Dad, I'm ready.
That's awesome.
And I was like, so that's my daughter, the way you saw on 22nd and Main.
Yeah.
And man, she's killing that, man. They doing things that before Food Truck Friday took 5 people, only takes 2 people.
Wow.
Yeah. She was like, what? I'm not a cook no more? You make me look bad now.
Right. Who taught you to do this?
Yes. So she does Food Truck Friday now, and she does Third Thursday. Me, I travel more now. She does all the locally stuff and all that. So
that's got to feel good too.
Yes.
For you not to have to worry about the local,
yeah,
but produce that value for your community.
Exactly.
And she's got it, sounds like she's excelling.
Yes.
Which is always cool when the young or the newer minds come in, like you've been doing this from tent to truck to trailer or whatever.
Yes.
And she comes in and says, well, let's try this. And you're like,
yes,
great idea.
Yes.
And now you have a whole new menu item or way of cooking something or presenting it or,
yes.
And that excels the whole team.
And that's why I said, like, she has the personality. She has the work ethic. Like, she's been around me for all her life, so she knows how I am. And so I build her like me.
Yeah.
And she has that warrior, you know what I mean? Like,
that grind.
That grind.
Yep.
Like, we did Katie Days 2 weeks ago. You know what Katie Days is?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
It's in
what is it?
Parsons, Kansas.
Okay, yeah.
So it was only me and her on the truck. Bro, I did about 120 quesadillas, ordered of quesadillas, just from 11 to 7 p.m.
Oh, my God.
And those take forever, but my hands it was crazy. And she was taking orders. I don't know how we pulled it off, but we had one of the person that was taking money and doing corn. She stepped up and helped us. But I told my daughter was like, if I didn't have you, we would have never made it.
That would have been
it would have been bad.
Crash and burn.
It would have been, yes.
Yeah.
But that's when I was like, we have a great team.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where it all comes. My nephew, my niece, it's all family business.
That's cool.
You know what I mean? It's all, my son, my youngest son, he comes once in a while. He comes and help us and stuff like that. But now we're ready to do bigger shows. But it took those years to get that experience. It doesn't come overnight.
Right.
You know what I mean? It just, you build it as you go, and that's the restaurant as well too. Like, the guy that built that restaurant for me, he told me 3 years prior to when we started the construction. He's like, come on, Marcos, you need to open a restaurant.
But you weren't like feeling it at the time.
No, I was like, I'm not ready for it. He's like, what do you mean you're not ready? You have the name. I'm not ready for it. And then the second year he comes back, he's like, come on, Marcos, you need to do this. This is a big opportunity. I was like, I know it is a big opportunity, but I'm not ready for it. I said, let me pray about it, and then I'll let you know.
While you're still grinding, going to shows,
yes,
doing community events.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the third year he comes back again, and we go to his office, and I prayed about it. I always pray about everything, man. God is always first, man. To me, he's always first. He put me in this position. Everything that where we at is for his glory, and I won't be here if it was not for him. And so I prayed about it, and he's like, he asked me again, and I don't know why, but I said, what would you do if you were in my position? And he thought about it, and he said, honestly, Marcos, I would take it, because these opportunities, they never come in life. and it's only one shot.
Mm.
And I just felt something inside of me, and I said, "This is the time."
Mm.
I was like, "Okay, I'm in." And we built it, and all worked out, and now we own it. And never thought about it,
Yeah.
but he built it for me though. Like he built
Like
it. He
designed
put
it?
everything first.
Oh.
Like it was just to me it was like that's all God. Come on, man.
Oh,
Who
yeah.
would do that?
Yeah.
Who would do that? Come on.
Yeah.
And it all worked out, but at the end we did the restaurant, and now my wife's like, in the beginning she was like, I don't know what we're gonna do because it's not as busy as the trucks, and I was like, people got to get used to us,
Yeah.
like about the restaurant, because the restaurant is a bigger menu,
Okay.
more options.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I said, once people starting to figure it out, I said it will grow. You just got to give it time. Things doesn't come overnight.
Right.
And now, bro, she like, we were so busy, this and that. I was like, that's not what we were working for?
Right. Yeah.
And she said, yeah, we've been working for this. And I said, it's like, everything takes time,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I got the second truck. So now I go to Oklahoma. Now I just opened a market for Springfield.
Oh, cool.
And
Good market.
Yes.
Good market.
And now we're opening a market for Arkansas.
A good market, not a good
yes.
market. Yeah.
So now is the time for Arkansas as well. So I think everything takes time. You know what I mean? Like it's like a puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever felt that way? Like a puzzle, like things. If you were patient with things, things fall in your plate.
Absolutely. Yeah. Call it like synchronicities.
Yes.
Where you're doing things, but it's not quite working out, or you're just kind of going through the motions, and then because you did the thing, something shows up. It's like, that would have never. I know so and so. Let me introduce you. Or I'm actually looking for a taco guy or whatever. And it's like, the only way for that to happen is for me to be in this moment, in this position, at this time, at this hour, standing in this direction.
Yes.
It's like those sorts of moments.
So you understand that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, and that's how it's always been with us. You know what I mean? Like, it's been that way. Like, now is the time to go to Arkansas, because one of my buddies, I met him because he used to come to Jolly Fox.
There you go.
And he was one of the students.
Oh, okay.
So he
goes to Arkansas?
He used to go to college to Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And then he used to come in Jolly Fox. And then he went back home because he was from Arkansas.
Gotcha.
But he became like my son.
Oh, nice.
Because I call him VIP. He's a good kid. He knows how to bring the people and stuff and everything. And I was like, God put you in my life for a purpose.
Sure.
So he has opened so many doors for me over there, but I still can't go. But now he has a contact to do the Walmart corporate office rotation on food trucks.
Whoa.
So I'm just ready for us to start going.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Oh, 100%.
And also too, he has a contact for us to go to the football Razorback.
Oh.
Because they have like a tailgate food truck before the game.
Yeah, yeah.
So
that's awesome.
You know how many thousands of people go there?
And how hungry those people are, dude.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's and we're ready for that.
Right.
But everything takes time. So that's why I said, like, everything is like a puzzle, and it's always gonna be in the time that it's supposed to be.
Right.
Because I learned that a while back with the car lot and all that. We'll go back to the car lot. Back then I was a person that I always wanted everything like this. I wanted it fast. Because in my mind was like, I'm a warrior, I'm a fighter, I could do it, you know what I mean? And I'm a hard worker, and I'm gonna do it whatever it takes. and that's how my mind used to work.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2018, I get a stroke.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
So God said,
Not
you
so
slow
fast.
down, or I'm gonna slow you down.
Not so fast.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got two options. Well, I didn't want to slow down because, you know, back then I was working 7 days a week. I didn't have a day off.
Wow.
7 days a week, 7 o'clock in the morning, and I won't get home until 2 o'clock in the morning
Wow.
every day, bro.
Wow.
So I had to wash my dishes, I had to prep everything, cut meat, prep everything, and then go the next day. So sometimes I only slept like 2 or 3 hours.
Dang.
So I did that for a year and a half. So in 2018, in September, I had a stroke, and I went down. But good thing that when I had the stroke that night, I was thinking about this. The ambulance came to my house, and they wanted to take me to the hospital.
This is like while it's happening?
Yes.
While it's going.
And I said, no, it's $1,200 just you to take me to the hospital.
Right.
They ain't paying that kind of money.
Right.
And he was like, well, you're bad. You know, we need to take you. Or we need to give you a shot.
Mm.
And that shot is for when you're having a stroke. But it's two type of strokes, though.
Mm.
And I didn't understand that at that moment. And something tell me, like, don't take that shot.
Oh, wow.
And I said, nah, I'll be okay. And so I told my wife, because this leg kept kicking. It just kicked on its own all night. And I was like, man, this is not right. And the next day, I had one wedding. I had a wedding, I had an event, and then I had a catering for the casino there in Seneca. And so I told my wife, I couldn't even walk anymore. I still drove myself to the farmer's market. And my wife was just like, you can't even drive. I said, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I got all these caterings.
Right.
So when I get to the kitchen, the people that were working for me back then were already waiting for me. So I'm like this hand is already like crumped like this, and you know. And
do you know you're having a stroke this whole time?
This whole time I had a stroke.
But are you aware of it, or are you just?
No, I didn't know.
You're just like, I'm pushing through.
Yeah,
I don't know what's
I didn't know.
happening.
I didn't know I had a stroke.
Oh wow.
So I didn't know. So but my hand was like this.
Something's not right.
Yeah, something's not right. So when I get off, the guy that was working with me is like, "You're not right."
Oh.
And he said, I think you have a stroke.
Oh, good.
And I was like, because he said, you have similar something that happened to me. My face twisted.
Mm.
And so you need to go to the hospital. And I said, no, me in my mind, but you see how worried,
Right.
like, I still we got to get the catering, we got to do this. So I go inside in the kitchen, and I'm trying to get the pan of the beans to put them in the oven. And one of our workers, her name Teresa, she was like, put it down. And she said, you want the things, you want to do the caterings? And I said, yeah. We would do the caterings, but you need to go to the hospital now.
Mm.
And if you don't go to the hospital, what she said, I quit.
Wow.
And I said, what?
I caught your attention.
Yeah. I said, okay, that's it. It got me.
Mm.
And I said, all right. I told my wife, take me to the hospital.
Snapped you out of it.
Yep. And so I went, and then they put me in there, and they said, so you had a stroke. This my left side, and but you had the good thing, you had a good stroke.
That's funny.
I was like, a good stroke? How that works?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like the good thing, you had a good stroke that where you could, with therapy and everything, you'll get back to normal.
Good.
So the bad stroke, you would have lost maybe your speech, you would have lost, you know, your movement of your hand or your leg. And he said, and the other thing is, the good thing that you didn't took that shot.
Really?
you didn't took that shot, because if you would have took that shot was for the bad stroke. So you would have been, it would have damaged you.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How things went. I didn't took that shot, and I was like, wow. So in that process, when I'm in the hospital, I remember, David came in and visited me at the hospital and stuff, and gave me some words, and still remember and stuff, like, don't let it get in the heart, and then at that process, God spoke to me. It's like, you're chasing something else. You're not chasing the purpose that I have for you. In that moment, man, God transformed my heart. And I said, so I don't chase money. I don't chase things no more. And I don't chase the things, I let it be. And I wait patiently. When even things get hard, I just work. Hey, if it's not for me, you're going to move the things. And if it's for me, it's going to come when the time is right. And so that's kind of where it all worked out. And now it's like, my wife at that time, she's like, you're going to go to work for 30 minutes. That was my therapy. You're going to go work, and then you're going to move the food, and I only had 30 minutes. And I get tired, and I go home, and I did that for 3 months.
Wow.
And, but I had a good team. Like, always surround me with good people, man. They always had my back. And so they did it. My wife did it, and until I got better, but now it's like, it's been awesome, man. But yeah, I had a stroke, and now it's like, I overcome it, but I had to make some changes to be where I'm at, you know what I mean? Right. So if I'm tired, I remember the doctor's like, I'm gonna give you an advice, and I hope you take it for your life.
Wow.
And I said, what is that? He said, listen to your body. If you're tired, you rest. Don't go no more. He said, because it's like an engine. You force that engine, it's gonna. At some point, something's gonna break.
Right.
And it's the same thing with your body. That's how we are built. And I said, okay. So when I get tired, I just tell my wife, hey, taking off today.
Yeah.
And I do.
That's good.
You know what I mean? So
not many people can do that.
Yes.
They can't allow themselves that, to listen to their body and react. They're just stuck in that. Got to keep going. Got to keep working. Yeah. Which is so common in our world. But
not me, man.
Yeah.
God, like I said, God changed me in that way, because He's like, if you don't do this, how I'm going to be able to use you? And I said, that stuck to me. I was like, okay, I have to rest. And now it's like, it took me a while to let them do it.
Right.
I was always...
I know the feeling.
you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're not going to do it like me.
Yeah.
But we need to teach them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's watch them do it.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to understand that, because if you really want to grow, we need to teach these people. Show them the way we do it, how we would like it.
Right.
And now we could step away. You know what I mean? And I always said that. I was like, I have to let that go. And if I want to become a brand, and I always want to do it, I'm never going to become a brand.
Right.
I got to teach people.
Yep.
I have to build that team. And that's where we're at right now. I'm building a team where we're going to go to another level. I see a big vision. We have big plans. But the only way we could do it is building that team that's going to surround me.
Right.
Because you can't go to war with no soldiers.
Yeah, right. Like, you could do it all under the tent by yourself.
Me and my wife.
You could do that. Maybe even the trailer.
Yes.
But these larger levels, these higher levels, the requirements are you got to have a team.
Yes.
And you got to get, maybe they don't know anything about, never cooked in their life, or never been, you've been in the food industry 30 years. They might have been never. But like, it's almost weird in the sense where you had the stroke and had to step away. It almost forced everybody to rise. You know, it's like Marcos, our leader, isn't here, but we want him, you know, to not worry. I'm going to step it up, even if it was subconsciously. You know, they stepped it up, did the catering for those days that you were gone, and probably a lot more after that. But it's weird how they got stronger and faster.
They didn't have no choice.
They had no choice.
They didn't have no choice. And sometimes, you know, you don't know the ability that we have until something happens. And since something really happens, when like, and you don't know how strong you are until you really, something happens. You know what I mean? If you had someone inside a car in the fire, you know what you're gonna do.
There's a part of my brain, I can see the door to the basement, and I know something is down there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't develop that mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
maybe you never get the opportunity to develop it. You know.
Yes. And that's kind of where, to me, we always try to teach my team, you know, because, and this, you might feel it, all the people that have worked with me never worked at a restaurant. Never.
Yeah.
Never. It's always been their first job.
Right.
But I have trained them and make them and prepare them and always teach them in a way where I'm preparing you for life. Maybe you won't work here in 4 years, but you'll be ready.
Yeah, for whatever.
Yeah. And you won't, because this job is a really hard job. It might look easy, but it's not easy. It's a lot of work, a lot of dedication, a lot of hot, long days, sacrifice.
Yeah.
Not everyone is built for this. And I said, and if you could overcome this, you could overcome anything. And people have left and always come back because they like, wow, now I understand what you always said to us. Because you know me, you know, I always kind of, I love encouraging people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's in me all the time. But that's what I do, prepare people for life. You know what I mean? But as right now, I have a strong crew, and even in the restaurant, like, we have a really strong crew.
That's awesome.
And I'm really, we're beyond blessed.
Yeah.
And so I would hope that God continue to send me people that doesn't have any experience of cooking, because you make them your way.
Right.
Because if they work somewhere else, like, no, I learned this way.
Right.
They don't want to break that habit.
Right.
And it's hard to break that habit.
Right.
You know, I have few before, and it's like, no, you need to, this is Ghetto Taco way.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
I understand why you do it that way, right? It might work at, I don't know, Red Oak or whatever, but this is different environment, different speeds, different cadences or whatever.
Yes. Yeah. So it's kind of where it's been at, but yeah, I wanted to bring something up, like, you know, before we go forward, like, so when we started this, when God put this in my heart, I remember that I said, my goal is to become a brand. I want to become my brand. I want Ghetto Tacos to be in all United States.
Right.
And I said, and I wish it was already 5 years. 5 years, and that was my first day. I was like, why I'm saying this? I don't know.
This is how I feel.
This is how I feel.
Yeah.
But I want to become a brand. And someone told me that last week, he said, don't never take the eyes out of your vision. Keep your eyes in your vision. And it makes sense. Like, my vision is to become a brand. And I have to, no matter situation, when it comes tough or whatever, I'm looking at the vision. I'm not looking at the obstacle. I'm not looking at where the things are in that moment. I'm looking at where we are heading to.
Right.
And I think we all relate to that, because I know that you have goals with your wife. I know
Yes, sir.
you guys want to accomplish certain things in life, you know, and that's good, because if you don't have that, what is the point?
Yeah.
Might have to go to downstream, work from 8
Dude,
work from
serious.
8 to 2 o'clock.
Right.
You be done, and then
Yeah.
you go home,
Right.
and then no more stress.
Right.
But I think that it's good to have those visions, those dreams, those, you know, your goals, you know, and stuff. But
The vision for me has always structured my life.
yeah,
And then I can view everything through the eyes of the vision. Does this get me closer or further? Does this help me or hurt me? Is this some distraction from social media that's somehow got into my head and now I'm thinking about that? That's not the vision. Like, I don't know why I'm worried about this thing.
Yeah.
I need to go back to the vision. And definitely, you know, currently the current circumstance, there's a lot of like, God, what, why? Like, remember the vision that you have in your head? Like, you don't need a lot of stuff for that vision. Like, oh, okay,
yeah,
that's I would like that stuff, but okay, I get it. You know, like,
yes,
you don't need a house for the vision. Like, okay, I get it. You know,
yes,
but it's kind of if it fits within the vision, then I proceed. At least that's how I've always done it.
yes,
Like, look, when I worked at Red Oak for the first time, and I was saving the money to go to California, everything I bought or spent my money on went through the filter of like, does this get me closer to California or further? Is this a purchase that gets me closer to my goal or further from my goal? And that's just how I would operate.
That's awesome, bro.
And that's how it got me there. Like,
Yes.
that's how I accomplished that, because plenty of things I wanted to spend my hard-earned money on, toys and
Yeah,
such or whatever, but it's like, no, this is what I'm doing. Like, I'm gonna get there. I'm going to Cali,
yes.
and I did. So, but yeah,
You were determined.
absolutely.
And honestly, and I'm proud of you, because not a lot of people have that in them. You know what I mean? To structure the way how you're gonna, because sometimes, you know what I mean, we go buy a certain thing and then you're $1,000 out.
Yeah,
And it's like, I should have never done that.
right.
You know, but how the way you just, you know, lay it out, it just makes sense, man. You know what I mean? And so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That you always, are you still doing that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it evolves over time. And so, like, when I came back from California the second time, that was probably one of the most like lost that I've ever felt, because my goal was always to get out there and do stuff, and I did, but then I kind of got to a point of like, well, now what do I do? You know, where do I go from here? Like, this is what has pushed me this whole time, and now I don't know what to do. And so that took a while of like, I think that's me. Yeah. That took a while for me to navigate and kind of like discover the new vision, because it was like, okay, this is phase 1 or whatever, and you did it good. Yeah. Now you understand more and accomplish what you said, but now it's time for phase 2. And it took a while to like navigate that, and that's kind of where I am now. It's like I'm in a new phase of this whole thing of the technology has changed, the platforms have changed, the cameras, like even the stuff that the tools, like everything's kind of changed. So now I'm kind of navigating. Now we got AI, kind of navigating these waters. Like, okay, it's almost like God was like, I know that your vision is this, and that's fine, but like this falls over, and there's a whole nother thing behind it, and I'm like, okay, we're winding on this road going forward. I don't know exactly where we are going, or I kind of have an idea, but just keep paddling.
But I think you have an idea, and that's good to have that idea.
I think so too.
You know what I mean? Because you know, it's been, I think, for the past 3 years, I've been reading 4 books a year. I read, and because I want to learn more, man.
Yeah,
And honestly, I never thought that I would be reading because I hated reading. I hated school, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't even graduate from high school. You know what I
Really?
mean? 'Cause I got kicked out. That was bad, bro. You know what I mean? So I never graduated, but I was like, man, I need to learn, and I started reading books, and now it's like
What kind of books are you reading?
I read like, like entrepreneur, leadership, just a little bit about everything, about trying to be a good leader. I want to successful other people that are like how they did it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And just kind of growing from there. And like I read Mark Cuban's books.
Okay.
I read 3 of his books, and people, just a little bit of everything, man.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Right now I'm reading a book. I forgot his name. He's a doctor. It's called Taking Care of Business.
Okay.
And he was a pastor, and he became an entrepreneur through this ministry, but became an entrepreneur, and now he's a multi-million-dollar man and stuff. But he shared his story, but he used the scripture in there.
Oh, that's cool.
Like it's a really good book.
That's awesome.
And so it's like, man, even that's what it was about,
Yeah.
putting God and what God did in the Bible to, like with Paul and all them, man, he could do it with us too. He's
Right.
doing it with us too. So I like that, and like I said, I'm in my 3rd book now, so I think
You're way ahead of schedule.
I
If
am.
It's 4 books a year.
Yes. So man, I just love it, man.
That's awesome.
And so, like I say, it takes time, but we're there, and I think that to me is like you always want to see where you see yourself. And so to me is like, they're opening that park in Bonita, Oklahoma.
The water park.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like a Disneyland.
Like $2 billion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, now it's 2.5. That's how much I know. You know what I mean? 2.5 billion.
Good grief.
And I see myself in there.
Mm.
I see myself in there.
I see. I pictured you going down a water slide, but now I see what you mean.
So I went to Little Kansas, Oklahoma.
That's the name of the town?
Yes, Little
Okay.
Kansas.
Oh, okay.
Middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Only 300 people live there. It's like you pass Jay, Oklahoma.
Okay.
And it's somewhere up there in a little mountain. So we went there once. And on my way back, it was raining and stuff, and it was dark. And in that moment, man, God gave me a vision. And gave me the layout, bro.
That's amazing.
The layout, how it's going to be.
Wow.
Like how he gave me the layout for the restaurant,
Yeah.
too.
So
Like he gave me the layout.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I'm the one that gave him the footage, everything how I wanted the restaurant, and they did it the same way. And then that night I was like, I'm just driving and everything, and that vision came. He's like, this is how you're gonna be able to push so many people, and just like the layout.
Yeah.
And I was like, and
See
how it's
clear.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how it's gonna look outside, and it just is always, that's always remember that.
That's incredible.
Yes.
That doesn't happen very often, or sometimes not at all, to people.
No. And that's why, like, and I got home and I started just drawing it.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And so, it's just been that, and that's a 3-year project. And I was talking we do a lot of stuff for Crossland Construction. Ivan is one of the owners, and we just did an event for them last weekend, and they had 130 new employees.
Wow.
They just hit the 2,000 employees.
Like across the
Yes.
total. Wow.
Yes. So they just reached their goal for the 50 years.
Yep.
They're They reached it this year.
Being in the top
In the
50.
yes.
Yeah, I saw that.
You saw that?
Yeah.
So that was pretty powerful, and I was happy for them. And so, anyways, I was talking to the lady that's always with Ivan, and she was like, "I have a question." She was like, "What is that, Marcos? What can we help you?" She's like so nice and everything all the time. And I was like, I have a question. I was like, are they still, because Crossland's supposed to build that park.
I see.
And so I was like, are you guys still building the park? And she's like, I don't know much about that. I'll talk to Mike. Mike is here. He's the one in charge.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, ask him. He's like, okay, I'll get back to you in a couple of weeks, whatever. I said, okay, cool. And she said, why did you ask that question? And I said, no, like, no. Where are you asking? And I wasn't expecting that, man.
Right.
Come on, man. I was like, it's like, and I was like, honestly, you want to know? And she said, yeah, honestly, I want to know. I said, if you guys really built that park, I see Ghetto Tacos in there. And she said, I believe it too. And she said, Ivan, you're Ivan's favorite food in your business.
That's awesome.
And he said, we would do anything in our power to get you in there. And I said, I was not asking for that. You know what I mean?
But you asked.
But you asked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I wasn't asking for that,
Yeah.
but you asked. And she said, we'll look into that. And I was like, oh, cool, And so that's a 3-year project. That's my vision. I've been, that's always. And I want to be in the busiest airport in the United States.
Which one's that?
Atlanta, Georgia.
It's not too far away.
No.
Let's do it.
So that's where my vision is with Ghetto Tacos. If I could do that, we accomplish something.
Right. Wow.
And I always tell people, they laugh, but I said, I said that last week. I said, I came to this world to do big things. I'm a little guy. And they make fun of me. I said, but I came here to do big things.
Yeah.
And I see it, and I believe it, and when you believe it yourself, it's gonna happen. Even when people don't believe in you, because I have had so many people negative or comments and on Facebook and so many negative stuff, but that I don't focus on that.
Yeah.
I focus on my vision, but when people talk about people, it's because the reason why is because they're jealous, and that's good thing where they talking because you're doing something good.
They notice.
Yes. Those are your biggest fan.
Right.
If you really look at it.
Yeah.
Because they're really watching you.
Yeah.
So they're your biggest fan. They might hate you, but they're your biggest fan, because those are the people, when things happen that way, is because you're going to another level.
You're right.
So you gotta have those, man.
Yeah. They're not making comments on Joe Blow over here, who's just, going to the bar on Saturday and playing golf on Tuesday, whatever. It's like he's enjoying life or whatever. But you're doing something, and people notice that, and especially when you're struggling.
Yes.
Trying to do something great, and then they see the progress, and they get a little afraid, like, oh man, he might make it,
Yes.
Like, I am gonna make it, so
yes.
You better just start eating my tacos, and we can all be friends.
Well, and I don't know what happened to you, but I realized that over the years since we started, people that I knew, that we always talk like we talk, man, and you, we always been tight, and I consider you a good friend of mine. You know what I mean? And I see them at Walmart. They don't even talk to me no more. Like they act like they don't know me no more.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's strange.
That would be yes.
You know what I mean? I was
Right.
like, okay, it tells me a lot about this person.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I said, but I have learned that it's not you. It's them. Whatever
Right.
they're going through, whatever,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just don't pay attention.
Like
to
if they
them.
were to come up to you in Walmart and just be like, you know what, I'm so sorry for how I acted. Like you would be receptive to, receptive to them and say, hey, no worries.
Yeah, maybe you're having a bad day.
Sure,
You had a
like-
bad day, and
Yeah.
and sometimes those time happen. It happens
Right.
to us. You
Yep.
know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
so it's like to me, if I see them again, it's like, man, what's going on,
Exactly,
brother? You know what I
yeah.
mean? Because
It's like no hard feelings. Like,
No,
actually,
no.
it makes me sad that we aren't talking. You know.
yes, but to me, you know me. You know me for a while now, man. I always been that person. Like, if I could help you, if I
Yeah.
could do anything,
Oh, no doubt.
I'm here for you. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So, but yeah, man, it's a good journey, but you have a lot of stuff that always trying to hold you or whatever.
Mhm.
But always remember that, you know, just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep going.
Yep.
You know,
Keep moving forward.
don't let things hold you back.
Mm. All in that good timing too.
Huh?
All in that good timing.
Yes.
Yeah, like goes back to that what I was talking about before, where it's like God gives you exactly what you need. So like, if you need patience, He puts a big line in front of you, and most people are like, oh, this line, you know, I got to get going. And it's like, try and teach you patience, and then when you start to learn that lesson, you turn around the line and you say, how are you today? I'm pretty good, you know, and you get to talking, and so it's Ivan Crossland standing behind you, you know, just for example. Yeah. But it's cool to see that throughout your journey, you know, each little time, like what is God trying to teach me here?
Yes.
What is the lesson? And really it's what's the gift that I'm going to get to be able to accomplish my vision and increase the pressure to get to that next level.
Yes.
Which is so cool. You've mentioned several times about like having a feeling or a vision on the water park or in the shot. Are you a pretty intuitive person? Like, do you feel that often, like that internal nudge or voice or energy, I guess, or does that happen often to you, or has it always been with you, or is that something that's developed over time?
I think, you know, the more you kind of you think about it, like you don't think about it every day, but to me, I write in my journal,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I have a vision board,
Nice.
and so I read it 3 times a day.
Your journal?
My journal,
Oh, yeah.
the things that I write. It says that in our subconscious, you know what I mean? That's why I say I have learned reading all these books and everything, and I read it in the morning, I read it in the middle of the day, and then I read it before I go to bed, my goals and stuff.
So you writing those down every day?
I write them, but then I read them every day.
Gotcha.
And then when you have new goals or new things that you want to accomplish or you have in your heart or it came in your mind, you write it down, you add to it, and you just read it every day, and you starting to believe it, you know. And once you believe it, you activate something in your brain to the universe that, you know, it's like a manifestation.
Exactly.
And so it does work, man, because it have worked in my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now I'm teaching my nephew,
Nice.
and he's like it does work, Theo, because Theo is uncle. And he was like, it does work. I said, I'm telling you, you got to write it down. Because if you have ideas and it's only your mind, we think about 60,000 things a day.
Mm.
So it's not going to stick in your mind. But if you write it down, it has power. When you write it down, it has you given it releasing power to it. And if you see in it every day, you programming your brain that it's going to happen.
Right.
And all the things like when we talk about Rocklahoma, when you talk about Vice Blues and Barbecue, they always been on my journal.
That's awesome. How good does that feel?
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, I tell people, and it's so powerful because you just start to believe, and if you believe it and you visualize it's gonna come, it not might come in 1 year, it might not come in 2 years, it not might come in 3 years, whatever it takes, you're gonna see it. Because if you believe it, it's gonna happen. And that's kind of where I see myself in the park, because we just got a contract with Fort Leonard Wood. It's a military base, and you're serving all these people. Well, you're getting the experience. How much pounds?
Right.
What it takes,
Yeah.
you know, how much is gonna take you to do thousands of people. Well, now I know that.
Right.
Well, 3 years ago I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know those things, but now, of the time, my mistakes and things that I have done, it's like now you have that inner in yourself, like, I'm ready for this.
I got this.
I got this.
Yeah.
And that's when you're ready. And I think in 3 years, I will be ready for that.
Right. I do too.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you know, now this year is we're traveling a little bit more. And I was talking to someone like, if we're going to travel, like we're traveling this year, I need to buy a van with coolers and everything for we could transport.
Right.
For that will be the truck that is going to load us up. The truck that we'll hire someone to come to Kansas City and load me up again.
Oh, wow.
You see what I'm saying?
You shoot off from Kansas City to your next event?
Exactly.
I like
You
it.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like
you
it.
see my vision?
I do.
So, you know what I mean? And that's kind of where like we went to Fort Leonard Wood. I had to meet someone in Lebanon. They load me up, and I head to Lake of the Ozark.
Awesome.
So, but you know what I mean? We had to use big old ice chests.
Yeah.
So, you know, kind of get away, but, you know. But I was like, we're going to put some work in right now this year.
Yeah.
We're going to figure it out. But I said, but if we reach our goal, because last year we did a certain amount. And I said, this year we're going to do this amount. On sales on the 3 locations.
Right.
To me to reach those goals, I'm gonna have to travel.
You gotta expand.
I gotta expand.
I got you.
I can't be doing what I'm doing right now.
Right.
I have to move. I have to get into bigger events, bigger shows, bigger, and so that's kind of where we'll get the truck.
Yeah.
If it works out, we're getting a truck next year.
Nice.
And now we'll get to travel, and we'll be doing more bigger shows.
Right.
And so that's kind of
getting your name out even further, you know. More eyes, more mouths, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you know one thing I have learned in this whole thing?
What's that?
I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna
hit me with the wisdom.
Huh?
Hit me with the wisdom.
Yes. So when look at how, if you're gonna tell me if it's God or not. So when I started Ghetto Tacos, you know that Jesus never preached in his town.
Oh, right.
He always went out, huh?
Right.
Well, he sent me out. He said, no Web City. you're gonna go out. No.
Mm.
So he said, you're gonna build a triangle.
Hmm.
I said, what do you mean by a triangle? You're gonna build a triangle. And so we started going to Neosho.
Mm-hmm.
We started going to Seneca. We started going to Baxter.
Mm.
We started going to Carthage. He said, I want you to build a surrounding first. And once you build the surrounding, and when I open that door in Joplin, they're going to come in the middle.
Mm.
In the middle.
Mm.
So you bring them in.
I gotcha. Oh, yeah. That's good.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, I don't know if you know this, but I was the first food truck that had permit for Joplin.
I did not know that.
I was the first one. We're the ones that open doors for the rest of the food trucks.
That makes a lot of sense. Because I don't remember a lot of food truck traffic before Ghetto.
No.
Honestly.
They were chasing me all the time when I would have my push cart.
Yeah.
Because I always get like close to Joplin.
Uh-huh.
And they like, man, they used to come like shut me down, bro.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I had to go through all those things. And,
Right.
and like, no, you need to build a trailer and this and that, or a truck.
They're trying to dictate.
Yeah,
what you
because
need
you have to have a 4-wall.
I gotcha.
And I said, okay. I said, but I don't have the funds to do that right now. Well, you can't set up in Joplin. And well, when the opportunity came for the truck, we went to the city hall, and there was a lady there that like, she yelled, bro. She was like, I've been working here for 25 years. We have never, this is what like that, bro. Never have gave a permit to a food truck. Not in Joplin. And it's not happening. And the person that was in charge was on vacation. So I'm saying it's all,
right.
You tell me it's all God
Yeah.
or not.
What?
And so I was standing there and I was like, I started praying. I said, God, you send that woman out.
Yeah.
We don't need this.
Right.
And the guy was like, he's on vacation, this and that. And I was like, man, I really need it, you know.
Right.
And he's going back. I said, I really can't help you. And I was like, and I was just stood there. I didn't say nothing. And he comes back and he's walking away. And then he's like, you know what? He said, let me give him a call. If he answers, good. If not, you're going to have to wait until Monday. I said, okay.
Call him.
He called him up. He answered the phone. And he said, we got Ghetto Tacos here, He said, open the map. Ask him where he's going to set up. And you look at the map and tell me where he's at. And I said, I'm going to be on 22nd and Main Street. And he pointed out the map and he said, well, it looks good. He said, well, stamp it.
Right there.
Right there. He said, stamp it. And he gave me the okay. And as I'm walking out, bro, here comes that lady again. What just happened? And I was like, it's already a done deal.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's already a done deal. And I'm like, thank you, Jesus. Thank you. And so after that, hey, Ghetto Tacos got it.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And so it's just been a pretty cool journey. And I could say, like, you know, like Lake of the Ozark, it was Osage Beach.
Oh, yeah.
So we went there, and we're the second food truck that got their license. We're the only second one now.
Up there?
Yeah.
That's, wow.
So the lady was telling me, like, did you get your license? It's like, and she's the first one. It's called Tony some rap or something like that.
Yeah.
And she was like, you did get it? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, you're the second one. Like, it's hard to get your license here. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. What
So-
a good spot. I
Yes.
mean, lake and tacos.
Yes.
Like, oh my God.
So I'm really excited for that, for the Lake of the Ozark, because the summer and everything will be by the strip next time we go.
Really?
So you know what I mean? It's just I'm excited because a lot of people are getting to know Ghetto Tacos.
Yes. Well, and that's not just the locals there. That's a huge vacation spot for all over the United States.
Traveling all over.
People from Florida and Alabama and Nevada all coming to the Ozarks, for a week or whatever to see the lake and family. They're going to see you.
Yes.
They're going to get some tacos and like, who is this? What is this? You talk about expansion. They go home. They got pictures on Instagram or whatever. Like, that's huge.
That's huge.
Yeah.
You see my vision now.
Mm-hmm.
That's what gets me excited.
I love that. Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, that's endless energy for
Yes.
you.
Yes, I said, because you never know who comes to your spot. Never.
But you're there.
But I'm there.
That's the key.
That's the key.
Yeah.
And that's why I tell all my teams, like, you always treat people the same.
Mm-hmm.
Give them the best service that we can.
Right.
I like Chick-fil-A. That's why they're so successful.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I said, if we could do that, man, sky's the limit, man.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, like, we didn't do the greatest, and I'm being honest with you, but we met a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And the exposure that we got, I guarantee you the next time we go there, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
Right.
It's going to be good for us.
Right. Like you were saying earlier, it takes a little bit to get momentum going.
Yes.
Just like when you opened up the shop in Webb City, not very busy at first.
Yes.
This whole new, like you've unlocked a whole new part of the map.
Yes.
It's going to take a little bit.
Yes.
People to see and taste and talk, and like once that momentum builds, like you said, next time you go up there, it's going to be different.
Yes, and that's why I said it's like, they're like, we never, and what I noticed about Osage Beach, they haven't tried very authentic tacos. They said, we have never tried these kind of tacos. They said everything is Tex-Mex around here.
Oh, yeah. So you're unlocking an entire new cuisine.
Exactly.
That's wild.
Yes.
That's wild.
So that's why I was like, when I heard that, I was like, the potential
Oh, my.
that we have here is nothing here then.
Right. Fertile ground.
Exactly. So that's like, I'm excited to go back, man, and open a market over there. I know it's a seasonal because,
Right.
it's a beach, not the beach, I mean the lake.
Yep.
And so, but hey, I'll take it.
Yeah. We went last year for the first time, my first time to Ozark, Lake of the Ozarks for a family vacation. I'm not really a big lake guy. I think I would be if I went to the lake more often, because we went and I thought, now I get it.
Yes.
Like, I get why people come to this lake, or they go to Beaver or Table Rock. This is really cool. And it was more of the end of the season, so things weren't quite as rowdy as I bet they are like now in July and August.
Yes.
But for you to be up there, like, that is a gold mine.
Yes.
The people, it's just like an endless crowd too. Like, no one's going to get tired of Ghetto Tacos because it's just a new wave every week. And they check out their B&B, someone checks in, and it's like, oh, let's go get Ghetto. Let's go down and get a boat, and we'll get a tray to take out on the lake to eat our tacos.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
And then they have a big event coming. It's in September.
Okay.
Or August. It's called the Shootout. I don't know if you heard of it.
I haven't.
So the Shootout they're boat races.
Oh, that's cool.
But those boats, they're more than $1 million.
They're like the super fast, like,
yes,
where they flip sometimes.
Yes.
Oh my god.
They do.
I kind of want to see.
Yes. So they said that when they come in the town, the line is like miles away
Just
with
to
their
see
$1 million. They're just thousands of people.
To see the boats.
Yes.
And then to see them race.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
So I want to get in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's kind of where we need to start now.
Right.
To people to start trying our food, and then you meet the right person, and then they're like, hey, we need to get this in contact.
Yes,
You know,
right.
so that's kind of where my goal is
Yeah.
to get into the shootout because
Yeah.
that's
Will be
bigger.
s- oh.
That's bigger than me, man.
Yeah, a lot of things are, but that would be fun just to be there, you know,
Yes.
like make some tacos and like I would love to see them boats race. Like,
Yes.
no wonder all these people show up.
Exactly.
I was thinking the triangle that you were talking about. It's like not only is it the triangle you described, Neo Show and Joplin or whatever. It's like the triangle is getting bigger. You know, it stays as a triangle. You got Kansas City, Rocklahoma's in Oklahoma City, and now you're over in Bentonville, Fayetteville area. It's like we're still doing this triangle, and it just
it's just expanding.
Yeah.
So I have kept that triangle system,
Right.
and so we've been doing it. So we did it with this area, and then we started with Kansas.
Mhm.
You know, Pittsburgh, Girard,
Right.
Fort Scott. You know what I mean, Parsons. You know, now we go to Fredonia.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all those towns. You know, and now we do it with Oklahoma,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's always that expansion, like
Right.
expanding. But it takes time.
Yeah.
But now it's like, okay, now we need to open the market of Springfield, because Springfield is only like an hour and 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that far.
Have you ever done a synergy show? Like, have you the synergy fights?
No.
I wonder because the big ones are in Springfield.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know Chris Gregory, right?
Yeah. I know him.
He owns the synergy fights.
Oh yeah, he does.
Yeah, he's co-owner with Zach Cummings. the
Oh,
old,
okay, cool.
UFC, I call him old. The
Yeah.
former UFC fighter. But they own that, and they go between Kansas City and Springfield. And Springfield, like, nothing against Kansas City shows, but like
Yeah.
the Springfield shows, I mean, they bring in enormous crowds, like enormous. So
I need
let's
to
connect you
get,
guys.
yeah.
If you're
connect
wanting to
with
get
him.
into Springfield, that's the way to do it.
So that's what I said. Like Springfield's not that far. It's like
Mm-hmm.
an hour and 10, and then now we're doing the Bentonville, the
Mm-hmm.
Fayetteville, and all that. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? It's just taking your time and seeing that the vision with the triangle and expanding and bringing people, like, after the show. I don't know if you remember the show when we came out on the Best Buy to Joplin.
Yes, the Travel Channel.
Yeah, no, it was a Food Network.
Oh, Food Network.
It was a Food Network with Guy Fieri.
Yes, and you won that, right?
We
it was
won
like
that.
kind of a competition.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they selected the 6 restaurants were selected from Joplin, but out of the 6 they selected 3, and those 3 went to the final.
Nice.
And so it was pretty cool, awesome experience to be a part of, and really nervous was,
Sure.
you know what I mean? Because that was the first time being in camera.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised that I think because it's you, man, I love you, brother, so I feel comfortable with you.
Sure, yeah.
But before it was like, I don't know, you know what I mean? I get
Right.
nervous and stuff, but it was the best experience, and gave us tremendous exposure.
Oh, no doubt.
Because we still get people. I was there last week at the restaurant, and this family he's in the military, but he was going back home to San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's from Ohio, and he was like, we saw you on the show.
He did?
Yes.
Oh,
And we had to stop.
that's amazing.
And so we hear a lot of stories.
Yeah.
Like, we just drive in, we're going on vacation, we're going whatever. We saw you on the show, so we wanted to stop.
That's so cool.
So we get a lot of people traveling and stopping by.
I-44 right there.
I-44.
So,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
People that I get a lot lately about that. Like, oh, I saw you on the show, like Lake of the Ozark.
yeah.
They were. I heard a lot of that. Saw
Really?
you on the show.
That's
I was like,
awesome.
why I don't get that in Joplin? Or why I don't get that in my town?
Right.
And
you don't
he's
have
like-
a store there, an
Yes.
actual restaurant.
Yeah, and they're like, I saw you on the show.
Oh, that's cool.
I was like, that's pretty cool. And so I was getting a lot of that over there. So
Are you able to use any of that footage for your personal, like, Instagrams and stuff? Or
I could only like like the pictures that I took with them,
Mm-hmm.
because it was pretty cool. All those chefs and everything, after we got done, they all came for dinner.
Oh, nice.
And it was pretty cool. I have them all there, and we took a picture out there.
Nice.
And so I used that picture and stuff. So I kind of,
Yeah.
but I cannot use
Like the actual episode.
the episode. I can't do that.
If we could,
Yeah.
I'd chop it up for you.
Yeah,
Make some cool TikToks
they
or something.
they did where they said that you can't.
Yeah, the copyright or whatever.
All
yeah.
that, yeah. So I was like, I understand. So,
Yeah.
but we're still getting a lot of exposure from
Well,
that.
it's cool that people are seeing it.
Yes.
Like, just
but it's
from the actual
but you
episode.
know what? That's kind of funny because it was good in the beginning,
Mhm.
but it just kind of only lasted like for 2 or 3 months.
Right.
But then I don't know, they rerun the show or whatever,
I wonder if it ended up like on a streaming service.
because they're like now it's like other people are watching it more.
Right.
So I don't know if they rerun it again, or I don't know, but it's a lot. Oh, I saw you on the show.
Yeah.
Like, man, that show was last year.
I always wonder because that's like a cable show or a Food Network is like, you know, DirecTV, like not a lot of people have Dish or that
Yeah.
anymore. But I always wonder if like maybe they premiered it on the cable or whatever, and then at some point it runs its couple weeks or couple months, and then
Yeah.
it gets shifted down into a streaming service.
Oh, okay.
Like Food Network definitely has. It's going to be on like Disney or Hulu
Oh,
or something.
okay. Yeah. I know.
And
what
then
you're
they'll
talking-
have that show on that streaming service, so then people are like flipping through, like,
Yeah.
oh, check this out. So
Yeah.
I wonder, and it gets more like everybody's got.
So I think that's
streaming.
what's happening.
I bet that's what's
Yeah.
going on. Yeah,
Yep.
which
Yep.
is great
Yeah.
because it'll just live on forever.
Yes. So
And you should say you could say that, you know, like when you go to Osage Beach or whatever, if they don't know you from the show, like, by the way, we're on this episode, you can check it out on Hulu right here, you know. It's
Yes.
like, oh, okay, they might be eating their tacos, like checking it out, you know.
Yeah.
And that builds the myth and the
I
legend.
kind of used that because someone told me like before. I consider myself humble.
Mhm.
Like I'm always humble and stuff about things
Unless you
like
get
that.
top mount, then it's not so much.
Like she.
Jiu-jitsu joke.
It's like someone told me like you need to use that as a leverage.
Yeah, I think so.
I was like, not everyone get the opportunity.
Right.
And I said, and then I started thinking about it. It's like, you're right.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you just mentioned like, some people came and they're like, yeah, by the way, we were at the, Best Buy in Joplin from the Food Network. And it's like, you were at Food Network?
Exactly.
And it was like, oh, cool. I'm going to look into that
Exactly.
and stuff. And so now it's like, this dude legit.
Yeah.
They take you seriously. You know what I
Right.
mean? And so, but yeah, I kind of.
There's one thing, lesson from this podcast and just making content in general, and I forget about it quite often, but I will remember, like, when I'm talking to somebody, it's like someone will come up and be like, I listened to your podcast with Marcos. It was I loved it. I didn't know this about him. And I'll think, you spent 3 hours with me and Marcos.
Yes.
Like in the podcast. And it's almost, I think about their perception of me. It's like it's 3 hours longer than if they just saw a picture on Instagram, like of me doing jiu-jitsu or something.
Yeah.
It's like they sat in this room with us for 3 hours. I got to remember that. Like,
yes.
That why are they being so friendly to me, or why are they being so open? Like they spent 3 hours with me as a friendly conversation. So the narrative of who they think I am and what they think of the podcast and everything is built that way. It's the same with that TV show that you were on. It's like they go and check it out, and they get to see you cooking and talking about Ghetto and your story and everything, and that gets built up before they ever get to see you in real life.
Yes.
Before they ever get to your restaurant or the truck or whatever event you're at, and they go. It's almost like a starstruck moment.
Yeah.
Where you see Brad Pitt on all these movies, and all of a sudden you look over and it's like, oh my gosh, Brad Pitt. That's how I feel about Ghetto. I mean, I've seen you from the beginning, but if I saw that TV show and I see some, Instagram reels and everything, and then I go to an event, I'm like, oh, whoa, it's them.
Yeah.
It's that starstruck moment. So I would say definitely use it. It's a great accomplishment. You
Yeah.
know, I don't feel like it's arrogant or anything. It's
Yeah.
like you accomplished a great thing and you were recognized for excellence.
Yes.
And it's like you also you represented our area too. You know,
Yeah.
like a lot of people overlook the Midwest. You know, it's flyover states and whatnot. It's like, nah, we got good people and good things here.
Yes.
So
No, and that was, to me, that was, like you mentioned, that it made me really proud.
right,
Like, you know what I mean, to the Joplin area, you know. And that's why I say, you know, when I go to, you know, places like, you know, Lake of the Ozarks, like, where you guys from? Because they see the number,
yeah,
you know,
417.
on the food truck. It's
Yeah.
like, you're not from here.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm from the Joplin area. And it was like, wow, you drove all the way over here? And I was like, yeah. And so it's amazing, like, you know, that's kind of, you know, I wanted to bring this up, but so 2 weeks prior to the email that I received from the Food Network,
Mm-hmm.
I had told my nephew, I said, I have a feeling. And he said, what? I said, Netflix is going to call me.
Mm.
He said, Netflix? I was like, yeah, they're going to call me. And then I was like, yeah, they're going to call me. And he was like, oh, okay, cool. And so then 2 weeks later, we received this call, not a call, an email. He's like, hey, you know what? It's not the Food Network. It's another, like your name of your podcast or whatever.
Right.
The production.
Yeah.
The people that does the filming and all that. Forgot what the name of it, but they have a production. They email me and
Right.
they were like, hey, you've been one of the selected, but you have to agree for certain things. You have to agree to it. And I was like, this is a scam.
Oh, you thought so?
Yeah, I thought it
That
was.
makes sense.
Yes.
Right.
I thought it was a scam. Like,
Right.
nah, that's not true. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? We let it go for a week and a half, and they reached out again. They emailed me again and said, hey, we're trying to reach you. You're not interested. Just, you know, email back that you're not interested.
Right. Right.
And we sat down. We're in the living room. I told my wife, I was like, "Is this really real?" I was like, "Just call them up."
Yeah. Right.
At this point, so she called him up and talked to the guy. And it's like, "Yeah, this is a real deal." And I was like, "But," I said, "The middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
How do you guys select Joplin?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, Guy Fieri, he's been around there in that area back then. It's been a long time, and he wants to do something there."
Nice.
And I said, "That's pretty cool."
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay," you know what I mean. And that's a kind of, after that, I was like, "Okay, it is a real deal."
Right.
But yeah, it was. I got to talk to him, man. You know what I mean, on FaceTime and stuff.
Nice.
And he said, "So I heard your carnitas are the best."
Can confirm.
And I said, "Well, you need to come and try them for yourself." And he was like, "Oh, so you're tempting me?" And I was like, "Yes, I am, sir." And he was like, "I like that." And he was like, "Well, you never know. I might pop there one of these days." And I was like, "That would be cool.
That would be sick.
That would be cool." But
Not yet. He hadn't shown up yet.
no, not yet. Wife said that he might come one day and I won't be there. I'll be far away.
Yeah. Right.
You're gonna have
I'm
to.
in Rocklahoma.
You're gonna have to drop everything and come over here.
Right.
I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it."
Can you just give me a text, Guy, before you show
Yeah,
up? Just give me a
exactly.
heads up.
But no, it's just. I think that everything is believing in yourself.
Mm.
You could do anything you want to do in this life. If people don't believe in you, you believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Push yourself, and believe that you can accomplish that. And I think this is the beginning. I always believed that I could do it, and me and my wife, not just me and my wife, and the team that has been with me since the get-go. Some of them have left, have come, but all of them been part of this ghetto crew, and they're one of the reasons that where we at. Because without them, I can't do this by myself.
Yeah.
Like you said, we could do the tent
Yeah.
or the truck,
Sure.
but that's it.
Right.
No more.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But I think we could do more than that. I think that we could accomplish bigger things, and that's where my vision. If it doesn't come, I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? I'm okay. I'll be fine.
Right.
Because I think that if God doesn't want me there, I'm okay with it. Because always say that and pray about if my vision doesn't align with yours, I don't want it. I want my vision to align with your vision.
That's good.
And then if God's with me, who could be against me? And so that's why I live my life every day, man, for Him.
That's good.
It's for His glory, not mine.
Yeah.
Well, I'm only here temporary, bro.
Yeah. We all are.
I'm not taking nothing with me.
Yeah.
But we could build a legacy. We could leave a legacy.
Absolutely.
And we could do the best version of ourselves and leave that if I could do it, you could do it too. And I want to leave that for my kids, my grandkids, my family, and California. Like, you know, one of my nephews started his construction company.
Nice.
Because he said, "Uncle, you motivated me.
Yeah.
Like, you set the tone."
Yeah.
And I was like, I believe him. I could do it too. And I was like, man, that's awesome,
That
man.
feels so good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like,
almost makes it worth it right there.
yeah. So I was like, that's what I want to leave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you could do it.
Yeah.
So.
And you're in such a cool position too with the industry that you're in and traveling and whatnot. Like, you're going to influence far more than just your family. I know that's very important to you, but the people that see you, and someone gets a taco or whatever, you sell lots of things, but get some food and they say, "This is incredible. I want to do this. Like, I want to do something with a food truck, or I want to do something with a restaurant," or like, and then you get them to, like, you're gonna influence that's way more.
That's you know, we do that once a year. So we do it once a year for the culinary school in Nevada.
Oh, you
I go to their...
You teach?
We teach.
Oh, wow.
I teach. Well, first, not teach, but I show them. They come out and they have questions, and then we get to serve the school.
Like, what are they asking questions on? Like,
man, they ask some good questions.
What's the secret recipe?
No, not recipes, but man, those kids, man, they're so smart. But they ask questions like, what has been your hardest challenge since you started your business? And I share with them, or how much it costs you to start your business, what kind of license you need to get the food truck, what kind of license, health department, who you need to talk to, do I need, what kind of insurance I need. It's a lot of questions to run a food truck. You have to have bonds, you have to get licensed with every city you go.
Oh yeah.
And so I love the questions that the students have, and share my passion, share my story, and these kids, I ask them, like, what is your passion? What do you love to do? Like, what do you love? What is that item you love to cook? And so they share with me, and I kind of share my input in them, and so I do that every year for Nevada, and now Joplin wants me to do it.
That's cool.
Coming next year.
Nice.
Carthage, and so we're gonna do a lot of stuff with the culinary the high school.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yes.
They have a culinary program.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. So, and I'm on the board for the culinary school here in Joplin.
Oh, cool.
So we get to, you know, just share with the board and what can we do for the students and everything. And that was pretty cool. they call me for that as
Yeah.
well and stuff. So we get involved
What a
in that.
great way to give back, you know. Like,
Exactly.
that's the next generation of restaurants and food trucks
Yes,
and whatever else, you know.
And also too, that now that I mentioned that, I wanted to say this too, that you know, when we started Ghetto Tacos, always in my heart that, and I, you know, Ghetto Tacos is not just about tacos.
Mm.
I love what I do, but it's about the community, and that's my mission. My mission is to give back to my community, and we do give back to our community, and so we get involved with a lot of with ministries. We get involved with programs with schools and all that, and it's awesome, man. I think it's a good feeling to be a giver than a receiver.
Yeah.
And I don't know, my heart, I always tell God, hey, the more you give me, the more I'm gonna give you.
Yeah. Yeah.
To bless your kingdom. And so we get to do that a lot, and it fills my heart, man.
Yeah.
And we want to continue to do that. So yeah, and so God gave me a vision and the word, because you know how Harley has his own saying. You know how different business have their own
Like
saying.
a slogan.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wanted one for us. And we were on vacation in Punta Cana last year, and that night at 3 o'clock in the morning, God woke me up, and He said, "Write this down," and it says, "It's not just tacos, it's life." And so it's about changing lives, impacting lives.
Yeah.
And that is what my ministry is,
I love that.
through tacos.
Yeah.
So it's all came together.
Yeah.
And so now our shirts that we made, it's just not tacos, it's life, and it has the palm tree and it has the taco guy and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I've seen them.
So every shirt we sell, we give a certain percent to certain ministry and stuff.
Oh,
so
that's great.
So that's what we do, man.
Yeah.
You know, and I want people, you know what I mean? It's all about that, man. It's bringing the community together. And even you, when you come to the food truck and you see a guy that you rode 3 months ago,
Yeah.
and you're like, man, bro, how's it going, man? I haven't seen you. I love that,
Yeah.
because that's where you meet. You meet at the love of your tacos, and then it becomes that community, that missing piece, and you enjoy that. So that's what I get to enjoy. I love it, man, and I love every piece of it.
That's amazing. It makes me think of one of my best friends, Tommy Vigil. Did you ever meet Tommy?
Tommy,
He's a black belt in Taekwondo.
Tommy, sound familiar?
Yeah, you might have met him.
Yeah.
He's from this area, moved to Tulsa, but he moved to Japan
Oh,
this
wow.
last year. His wife is from Japan.
Wow.
So they moved back, and now he's living there. But I remember one time he was talking, and he said, I want to be a valuable asset to my community.
Man.
It was like one of those, he just said it randomly, like,
Yeah.
good grief, you know, like,
Yes.
wow, that's powerful.
Yes.
It's like, you're a very valuable asset. You, the team, the brand, the food, like, that's a very valuable asset for our community. And it also makes me think of, like, when Jesus is recruiting the disciples, and they're all fishing.
Yes.
And he's like, what are we going to do? We're going to fish? He's like, I'm going to make you fishers of men.
Amen.
It's like, we're going to do cook tacos. You're like, we're going to build community and give people purpose and a mission and the feeling of togetherness.
Yes.
All right, I'm in,
Yes.
That's a good purpose. That's
Yes.
if you were just doing it for the food and just doing it for the money and the tacos and that, you would get tired quickly.
Yes.
But since you have that deeper drive and purpose and vision, no telling how far you can go. Probably forever.
Yes.
Through generations.
Exactly. And that's what I want to leave like that. You know what I mean? To people to fit into it. You know what I mean? The crew and the crew are already doing it because they love the vision and what we do, and people that had come and go, and like, remember, Hardy, no?
Maybe.
Remember Hardy?
I think maybe.
Probably, if you see him, you'll recognize. But man, he's like my son too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And always helping me. And he sees the vision and is like, hey,
that's important.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, I need you. I'll be there.
Yeah.
Like, and those are the people that God is surrounding me with. You know what I mean? And so I just wanted to bring that and bring it up here in the podcast, that is the mission and the vision for Ghetto Tacos, and it has always been since the beginning. Since the beginning, and so, man, God's gonna take us to places that we never thought to be.
Oh yeah, amen. Because
it's for His glory, not for me.
Yeah.
I'm just a servant. I'm just part of the journey.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's pretty good feeling. And like I said, before I came up here, I was praying in the truck before I came up here, and I said, I want you to be the one speaking and not me. And I think He's the one speaking, because I have a feeling I would have been already nervous, bro.
Oh yeah.
You see, I know myself.
Yeah.
And honestly, I feel so calm.
Good.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So like myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a lot of people always say, just be yourself. Why are you trying to be in the camera and you're like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it was for you in the beginning. Was you nervous and stuff like that? Or
for the podcast?
Not the podcast, like being in camera and doing.
Oh, yeah.
But
you can't hide from the camera. It shows everything. If you have a weird
but the more you did it, the more you kind of felt more comfortable.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
Yeah.
You just accept it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, to me, it was like, just be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And everything is like, you guys are going to go sit down and have a coffee.
Yep.
And have a conversation.
Absolutely.
And I was like,
I can do this.
I got this.
Yeah. No, that's exactly right. I mean, people will say, like, I don't like to hear my own voice.
Yes.
Or I don't like to see myself on camera. And I guess I felt that a little bit at first, but like, I have to edit these. So I see everything. Yeah. Like I'm going to see things on this episode that I didn't pick up from you, or I'm like, I didn't even hear him say that, because I'm listening and thinking of what to say, but there's so much that happens. But the more I watch, the more I'm like, myself, I'm like, kind of like that guy.
Yeah.
He seems pretty cool,
Yeah.
Or I would see some things like, I need to maybe not say like so much, or it gives me an opportunity to better myself.
Yeah.
So it's like a double-edged sword. You get everything, but it gives you opportunity to better yourself, or to get to know yourself better. You know yourself better. Yeah, that makes sense. And
it does. And honestly, I've been praying for this for 3 years, bro.
Really?
Yes. This right here.
Wow.
And I said, and I'll be honest with you. I said, why Colin haven't called me? 3 years.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking about it. And when you reached out to me, I said, now I know why. Because I was not ready then. Now I am ready. Because I got something to share. And you see how timing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It all works out. But yeah, I wanted you to know that it's been 3 years that I've been wanting to be in your podcast.
Yeah.
But it was not the right time.
Well, that's both sides too. Because I remember, like I said, I was used to be in this studio and back in the hallway. And if you look at my guests, it's just very close friends. Like my wife, somebody.
Your mom?
My mom. Yeah, she was recent.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah. But there wasn't like a lot of depth, which I'm not saying those guests were bad. Like they're like my warm up.
Yes.
If something went wrong with the podcast and they were in there, I don't care.
Yeah.
If we talked about dirt for 3 hours, I don't care.
Yeah.
it was like me. It's like training ground, and I do remember like a pretty distinct moment within the past either year or two, somewhere in there, where I just didn't care anymore. Like, I don't care who's sitting in that chair across from me. I'm just going to do the best podcast that I could.
Yes.
And that's when I've had my mom on, which I, would always want on. I've always wanted you on too, of course.
Yeah.
But I was nervous that I couldn't be able to tell your story or give you a platform or hold a space long enough or say what I need to say to like get your story and your side of it the most power or the most impact or whatever. That's what I was afraid of until
but you're at that point, you were not ready yet.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah. I wasn't ready either. And then just switched and like, what's the worst that can happen?
Yes.
Nothing. Like it's a bad podcast. Like, no, it's you just talk and what happens. Yeah. Got it. Let's do it. Who can I, get on? And it's funny. I should show you this someday. I have a like a board, like a program that you can it's like a desktop, and I have guest list, and you've been on that list. Like your picture has been on that list. Like there's probably 10 pictures of people that I'm like, I want these people to come on my podcast. You've been on that. I promise. I'll send you a picture of it sometime.
But I was like, I gotta tell him.
Yeah.
And I was like, but then I realized like, I was not ready for that. And I think at this point in my life, I was excited, and I'm excited right now because it's the right time. And I hope that we reach people that could relate to me.
Yeah.
That we could touch their hearts. Because you came to this world, we all did for a purpose. And we all have gifts. We all have talents that we still haven't discovered. Yes. And that's a true fact. And we need to reach those people that you are gifted. You need to figure out those things that it just feels so easy. Yeah. Those are the things that you should be doing. Right. Because that's where you belong. Because that's how I felt in the food when I used to cook at, Red Oak. Like, hey, you should do tacos and stuff. And back then I didn't even know we were gonna do Ghetto Tacos or whatever. Yeah. But I just throw in stuff, like, it was just stuff thrown in there, and people loved it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, man, those are good, whatever. And then stuff at home, and like my kids always said, like, don't tell mom, but Dad, your cooking's way better, Yeah. And I'm like, what?
The secret's out.
Yeah, it's like, when you cook, everything's so good. Mom's good too, but when you cook, it's like a special, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh, that means a lot, son. And I was like, yeah, it's like, so that's kind of like, okay, but I just throw things. Like, I don't even think about it. Just open the cabinet, you got your cumin, your ingredients, and I'm just a guy that just bam, bam, bam,
that's
bam.
That talent that you got,
And then just like, I don't even measure. Yeah. I don't have measurements. I don't have that. I just throw it in there and make magic. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of like, okay, this is, when I was selling cars, that was not my gift. Yeah, right. I didn't know how to sell cars, man. I didn't even know about cars. Yeah. I didn't even know nothing about that. But you tell them about food, then what's going on? You know what I mean? Right.
What we cooking?
What we cooking?
Yeah.
So that's when I found my gift, my passion, and you know what I mean. So yeah, I hope that we could reach people that really out there, that they get to hear this, and they are gifted. You didn't come here for an accident. You didn't come here for an accident. God already knew you before you were born. Right. So I hope that this touches people's lives.
Oh, no doubt it will. And it's kind of sad nowadays that people aren't encouraged more. Honestly, they might be discouraged more. Like, oh, I wouldn't try that. That idea for the business that you have. What if you fail and all that? But just encouragement, and even, man, if you just drop to the base level of encouragement, For instance, just I do this all the time where I'll see someone and get to talking to them, and they'll tell me that maybe they're struggling with something. Like, why don't you come to the gym? Like, why don't you come roll with us?
Yes.
Like, you don't have to keep training. I promise you, if you come to the gym, you're gonna meet really cool people.
Yes.
And you'll get a good workout in, one that you've never had before. I mean, I know you've benched, and I know you. This is crazy.
Yes.
Someone's gonna try to choke you, but you'll feel better. And just little simple encouragements like that. Like, we don't really get that in our daily life. So for someone who's accomplished, hardworking, has a vision, sacrificed, struggled, failed, succeeded, all of it, to encourage people means so much more.
Yeah.
And when you say you can do it too, it's like,
Really?
really?
You could do it too, because, you know what I mean? I think that's where, honestly, in the struggles, is where you learn to be more stronger in the struggles. Because there were times, man, honestly, there was times that in the beginning, I used to come to the house and I used to park in the front and I just sit there and cry, man. Like, I just want to throw the towel. Like, I can't do this. Like, this is hard. And it was a voice telling me, no, you're not quitting. You're not a quitter. I'm with you, and you're gonna go get some rest and come back again. and now that recently that I get them once a year, and I just had one like I would say 3 or 4 months ago. I told my wife, let's just sell Ghetto Tacos. I'm done.
Oh yeah. Wow.
That's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And she's like, no. And I'm so blessed that I have a good wife that believes in me. And she said, no, you're having your moment. You get this once a year.
Yeah.
I know you.
Yeah.
And you just got to overcome that.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes it's just the enemy that's trying to rob you from
your
that
purpose.
Yeah, from your purpose and stuff. And I just like, okay. And then you were stopping. You were like, man, what was I stressing out about this? You know what I mean? Like, but so it still happens. It's normal. I'm human. You know what I mean? We all humans, and we all go through those difficult times, no matter what situation. But at the end of the day, if you push through, it's like you work out. Like you say, you're gonna feel better after you done rolling. You have that. You know how we feel.
Oh yeah.
You're like, man, I'm glad I rolled.
I'm glad I showed up.
And I always love that. It's the same thing.
Glad I didn't give up. I'm glad you didn't sell.
Yes. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the things that you always will go through, but it's only gonna build you to. It's only molding you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like kind of molding you to be, in whatever area you need that help.
Yeah.
Is making you more stronger.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when I got that truck, that new food truck, I just got it. It was not even 2 months, bro. The engine went out.
Oof.
Just got the truck,
Right.
bought the truck, built everything. It was rolling already. Engine went out.
The whole thing?
The whole thing.
Oh my gosh.
Whole thing. And honestly, I stood there and I said, God, what are you trying to teach me? I'm not going to focus on the problem. I want to focus on what you're trying to teach me.
That's powerful.
And he said, I want to teach you to pay more attention to details and pay attention to things. Checking on the oil, checking on, have a routine every week, check the truck. Just, it's not going to always run all the time. You need to check oil, you need to check everything, fluids, all that.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing that.
Mm.
And I was like, wow. Now I have a system every week. We
Yeah.
check fluids,
Good.
we check everything. But it cost me an arm and the leg.
But you're not gonna forget it.
No,
You know.
but I learned my lesson.
Right. That's good.
It was a big chunk, but
Mhm.
hey, you gotta shake it up
Yeah.
and learn from it
Mhm.
and move on.
Yeah. It takes a while too, I think, to push through a moment and understand that it's maybe like their little metamorphoses, like little pockets of change where I've done both. I've gone and then given up, and then went about my way, or I've gone and Kelsey's encouraged me, like your wife, and I pushed through, and then I look back and think, man, I'm glad that I did not. I'm glad I listened to her and did not give up. But it takes a couple of those to understand. Don't give up, or just adjust. Don't quit. Just adjust. Like that's not. Don't jump ship.
Yeah.
At least for me, like lately, even doing podcasts or the videos, like just like you, plenty of times, like I'm tired of lugging this camera equipment around. Like I'm tired of editing.
Yes.
I want to give up.
Yes.
But knowing that my past, challenges and overcomings, what occurred, I just shut that voice up. I just maybe I pity patty, pee pee poo poo me for a little bit.
Oh yeah.
And then it's like,
We all do.
that's done. I'm done with that. Like it's, I don't know where that leads, and I don't want to know.
Yes.
I'm just gonna keep going this way.
Exactly.
It takes a few times to do that. So if it's early in your journey, it could be tough.
Yes.
But we're telling you, don't give up.
Yeah.
Push through. Adjust or push through.
I was listening to Les Brown. He's one of
I love Les Brown.
Yeah, you know who I'm
he
talking.
fires me up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I
That's my sauna.
Yeah.
That's when I'm in the sauna dying.
Yeah.
I'm listening to Les.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So those kind of who I listen to, and so it says before when you wake up every morning, first thing a lot of people look at their phone first.
Yeah.
First thing you need to listen to is something that's gonna build you up.
Sets the tone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because now we program our brain to, man, I got it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's all in the mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And so I listen to that, like gets me fired up.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, well, man, let's go. You know what I mean? And then you get this thing fired, but then some ideas popped up.
Yeah.
It's like, man, what if I do this?
Yeah.
What if I do this? Like you have to learn to be, how you say that word, like curiosity?
Curious.
Yeah, like
be
curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always curious.
Yeah.
And we should be that way, because that's when you discover new things.
Yeah, curious and like playful, which is easy for you probably when you're cooking, because you're looking at all this stuff. It's not like you're just locked into this recipe. You're like, what do I got? Got some chicken, got these spices. What is this, onion thing? You're like, what if I did this? Like you're just playing.
Yeah.
It's like if it doesn't work out, like the worst case scenario is you have a piece of food that's going to be pretty good. It's like maybe it's not spectacular.
Yes.
But it's something. But you're going to learn something in that.
Yes.
It's like that act of play is so important. We take ourselves too serious. I do it all the time with videos and stuff. It's like it's got to be perfect. It's got to be exact. What if we just turned the camera like this and I don't know, did this?
Yes.
Didn't work out. But we were playing, and that's how you discover.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
totally
it's
agree.
like I still get those things. Like I don't know what happened last week or 2 weeks ago, that I've been doing this for 8 years, and then it was just a simple, like you say, a turn.
Yeah.
And then I said, holy shit! Oh, it was the pepper, the marinade that I make.
Oh yeah.
So we open the pepper and we take out the seed.
Right.
And so I always had them to open it up and do a pound and clean, take out the seed and leave them clean, and then I'll boil them. Well, that day and then you still got to strain them because I don't want the skin, so I had to still strain them.
Oh, right.
So I was doing that. I was like, and it just clicked. I was like, why I'm taking out the seed if I'm still going to strain them anyways?
Yeah.
And then I told my wife, and then the cook, she's like, I've been telling your wife this whole time.
Why'd you tell me?
Why you didn't tell me? And I was like, wait a minute. I've been doing this for 8 years.
Yeah.
And it just clicked right now.
Yep.
So it's you always, I think life is like a school. You never stop learning.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's the good, because when you stop learning, then you're dead.
What's the point?
What's the point?
Yeah.
And so to me, it's just like, man, I'm so happy. Always like little things that, man, why I didn't thought about this?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, should have done this.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it's always trying to find ways to make it easier for us.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like on the meat, I used to cut meat 400 pounds a week by hand, bro.
That's
So
why you
my
got
shoulder, I almost lost my shoulder.
Oh.
Well, I'm left-handed. I used to cut like 200 pounds of steak, 200 pounds of chicken, and then pork. And it was a week, man.
Wow.
And so, like I said, I was always there until 2 o'clock in the morning. And then again, I had to work and then do that again every day.
Yeah, no wonder you got ground down.
And so I saved money to buy a machine, and now I ran it through a machine now to kind of cuts it and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then as we started growing, I said, you know what? I said, now I need someone to pack it, you know, cut it and put it in a package, and then we just cut it open. And now we do. We have a company locally that does that for us, Warren Smead. They cut it, package it, and they bring it to the restaurant. But before, I had to do all that by hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't understand like the process.
Yes.
They only see the result.
They just see a big truck.
They just
with
see
a big decal.
Yes.
They don't see that 2 a.m. slice and cut and bagging, you know.
Yeah.
Early mornings.
Yes.
Where you like the last thing you want to do is cook this.
Yes.
And go to this place.
But
it's got to be done.
There were times that we probably slept only 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Me and my wife, I just closed my eyes, and 30 minutes I was back up.
Hey, babe, wake up. Let's go.
12 hours again.
God.
And yeah, it was times, man. But I was telling my wife, I said, babe, I said, I'm going to say this in the podcast. And she said, what? And it's like, yeah. So when we had our little cart, we did an event at Lockwood. You know what Lockwood is?
Mm-mm.
Lockwood is like, if you're going towards Lamar, well, before Lamar, it's in the middle of nowhere. I think it's like going towards Stockton.
Okay.
And it's called Lockwood. And so they called us to set up on the street, and I went up there, and it was between 24 to 28 degrees, and it was snowing.
Oh, wow.
Under a tent. When we left the kitchen, my wife said, what are we doing?
Good question.
And I said, babe, I don't know.
Whoa.
And she said, the whole time we're driving, it's like, babe, it's snowing and it's cold. I don't know. And we went, and that cooker that I tell you, it weighed about 300 pounds, bro.
Jeez.
She helped me unload it, and we were there, and we probably sold like $300 that day. To me back then, it was
jackpot.
Yes, it was jackpot, bro.
Yeah.
It was a lot for me, man. And so it was like, she was like shaking, bro, the whole time, and I was shaking too. And then I told her, like, okay, it's time to go. Let's load up. It's like, so how we gonna load up? It's only you and me. And I said, well, I don't know how we're gonna load up, but we're gonna load up.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I did it. I said, God, I need your help.
Yeah.
And I picked it up that end, and we got it in there.
Nice.
And we went home. But I told my wife, I said, babe, we will always remember this one. I said, this one is the one is always going to be remembered because it's special. Because to do something like that, only crazy people do that. And so we push through. Even though wherever we go, that one is going to always be there. That made Ghetto Tacos.
Right.
So I don't understand if you understand what I'm saying. This one is a special one.
It's like the turning point.
Yes.
As you got started, are we serious? It kind of works. Sometimes it doesn't. But if we're willing to do this right now and do it successfully and together,
that was the one.
That was the one.
That was the one. And so that's, to me, I wanted to share that one because it's always in me, in my heart. It's always there. And even though where God takes us, that was the one that I see myself being a motivational speaker, speaking to people. And I always will bring this one out because this one is the that made us, you know what I mean? Because that's when my wife's like, let's do it.
Yes.
Let's do it. Like, it's something injected inside of her heart.
Right.
Like, okay, shit, if we could do that, we do whatever we want.
Yeah, what's not impossible.
Yes.
I loved your answer. I don't know. I love that. That to me is like the true warrior in you. Like, you're driving, we're going down, we're doing this, it's snowing. I'm sure you have your doubts. Your wife is thinking, what is going on?
Yeah.
But you just said, I don't know. We're going to do this.
Yep.
As best we can. I'm sure you could have easily been like, hell no. It's 24 degrees.
That's what I'm saying.
There's snow. Who's
it
going to
was
order
between
taco?
24 and 28. But the most part to me that really stand out, that people still came out and buy.
Yeah.
They were shaking. You know what I mean? They were they were shaking,
cold.
but they still came out and support, man.
That's amazing.
So that was like, man, if they could do that. We in the world of 10 and my journey of that, we lost about 30 tents. 30 tents, wind, storms.
Yeah.
Lost a lot, broken from storms and everything. We went through a lot, man. But it was awesome. Because we won't be where we're at without those. Out of those 30 tents that I lost.
Yeah.
And I finally gave up that cook. We went and we end up taking it to the metal thing.
Oh, the scrapyard.
Yeah.
Oh.
I let it go.
Rest in peace.
Yes, rest in peace. But you were part of this. But
You're
now
right.
I gotta let you go. And there's sometimes you gotta let things go to go more forward.
Absolutely.
And stuff. So, but yeah, man, it's been awesome, man. You know what I mean? And really humble and experience and I don't know what the future holds. I know I have visions, but I think it's more than that. I think it's more out there for us. You know what I mean? So, because we believe in our product.
Yeah.
I believe in our product. I really do. When people taste that food and say, "Holy crap," and that's like, man. It's like this bring me home. Texas, California,
that's cool.
Arizona, Mexico, just people telling you all these things. It's just like, man, we got something going on.
Yeah.
You know what I
No
mean?
doubt. No doubt.
Because that's when I go to Mexico, to Guadalajara, I go to taco stands and stuff, and it's just like, oh man, they're freaking good. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And where else can you get that?
Yes, and that's kind of where I know the same feeling that they getting when
Yes.
I
Right,
I want people to have the best experience.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it's been awesome, man. One of I'm not gonna tell you because I'm working on it, but I'm coming out with a new dish.
Ooh.
I'm creating
Wow.
a new dish. No one in the United States is doing it.
Really?
No, it's something nice, man. And like I said, customer last week in Bonita, this girl came and she was like, do you have this?
Oh yeah.
And I said, what?
What is that?
What is that?
Yeah.
And so I told the corn guy, it's like, hey, Donnie, talk to her. I want to know what it is she's talking about.
Yeah. You had no
I didn't
conceptual idea.
No. But I kind of felt something.
Wow.
I felt something.
Yeah.
Because I've been praying about something. I've been praying, God, I need your help. We need to create something that no one is doing.
You've been praying this?
Yes.
Wow.
And so he was like, I know what she said. She's like, but I have an idea for you. And so he's a foodie guy, so
Yeah.
he's processing everything. And then he processes like, you need to do this.
Mm.
And I was like, man, that makes sense.
You thought it was good.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's powerful, man.
Oh wow.
I don't want to say it here because I want to be the first one.
Yeah.
I want to be the first one to come out with it.
Will you tell me off camera?
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Yes.
Sorry, guys.
Yes. Because it's going to create a trend.
That's awesome.
We're going to create a trend.
I believe it.
It is. Because it's powerful. And so I'm working on it. I've been working on it, but I left last week, and so I'm going to get back in the kitchen.
So you going through different trials? Like
Yes.
Trying out this version?
Yes.
That's got to be fun.
Yes, it is fun. That's the part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, like, it's like, no, something missing.
Yep.
No, it's like, you know what? You need to not boil the peppers. You need to charge the peppers.
Mm-hmm.
The once you charge them, it releases more flavor to
Mm-hmm.
it, and so every little detail. And so right now I'm just kind of experimenting until I execute what I'm trying to get. So I was talking to Tony Pizza in Springfield last Saturday, where they had the Missouri Food Truck Fest,
Mm-hmm.
and he I was out there standing, and he came out and he said, Marcos, can I talk to you? And I said, yeah. And he was like, you see that truck right there? And he was pointing to my truck.
Mm.
That's a brand. And I was like, what?
It's out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
He said, that truck is a brand. He said, you see all those trucks out there? And there was like 25 trucks.
Mm.
See all those trucks?
Yeah.
And I say, yeah, I see them. They're not no brand.
Yeah.
He said, yours a brand.
Mm. Recognizable.
Yes.
Like has that. You could see it forever away.
Yes.
I would say that's ghetto right there.
And the way he's like explaining it is like, he said, your food, the way who you are, your team, you're a brand.
Mm.
And I said, and I told him, man, thank you for your kind words, man. I wasn't expecting this.
Yeah.
And he said, yes. And I was like, man, that's awesome. I was like, so I'm in the right track. I'm in the right track. It's something to remind me
Mm.
that I'm going the right direction.
Right.
and so I talked to him about my idea because he plays with a lot of herbs because he's from Italy.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, hey, I'm
What do
trying.
you think?
Yeah, what do you think? I'm trying to create this.
Yeah.
He said, Marcos, you up to something.
Wow.
He said, that's what I like about you. And I was like, man, that's pretty cool. And he's like, you need help. He said, you give me a call. He said, I'm more than welcome to help you create that.
That's cool.
Yes.
Get a little Italian influence in there.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's something different for sure.
So what I'm trying to say is like nothing, it's not an accident.
Mm-hmm.
Like people say, it was meant to be.
Yeah.
No, nothing is accident. It's because it's the way it's supposed to happen. It's being patient with your time, and the time is right now. So yeah, I'm excited. After the camera, I'm gonna show you what I'm trying to.
Oh yeah, I'm pumped.
What we're trying to do.
Yeah.
It's exciting, bro.
Yeah, it's
great.
great.
Gonna blow up, and so I think all United States is gonna be following that. So we're excited with Ghetto Tacos.
I believe it.
And it's gonna be here in the Midwest.
That's right.
Yes,
Heartland of America.
We could do it.
Yeah.
Yes. So
and you're doing it. That's the cool thing.
Yeah. So that's exciting. What's coming? That's our next. How we name it, like a new project or a
new venture.
Yeah, a new
like
venture.
A new venture.
Yes. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
you got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Not only, right now, but like reverberating out in the next couple of years. I like that. I like how there's like milestones for you guys, because it's like there's work to be done now and plenty of things to do and improve and all that. But also like you're still looking your vision. You got bikes, barbecue and bikes. You got tequila tacos. You got the water park somewhere. The brand. Like I love that. I love that structure. Like that's
It's like they say, if you look at Netflix, I see their story. They're always innovating themselves.
They never stay static.
You see that?
Right. You just stop at tacos. You
see how they used to go rent a movie at Walgreens and you take it back.
Yep.
And then now they, what they did? They did it through where you just go on your TV and you watch a movie. And now what they're doing now, they doing movies now.
Right.
Well, now what else they doing? Now they doing fights.
Yep, live stream stuff.
Exactly.
Yep.
They're taking over. They're gonna take over that line. But what they're saying, they changing it up.
Right.
That's how I vision my business. Well, you gotta to keep growing. You gotta keep adding stuff to it.
Right.
It don't have to keep trying or adding something like where people like, man, that's pretty cool. Like now it's a new thing, like I had a West Coast burrito. I don't know if you ever tried my West Coast burrito.
Sounds amazing.
Bro, you're missing out, man.
I just hammer these tacos.
You see it on
Give me 20 tacos.
You just get the molita, you know what I mean?
Oh, dude, I just had that the other day.
That's what
Kelsey, she's like, bring me home 5 molitas. I fed the family, okay?
Yeah, so
it was good.
But yeah, like we, a lot of people do the California burrito here. Everyone carries California burrito, but I said no. I'm gonna do San Diego style. So the West Coast it comes with rice, beans, the meat, guacamole, sour cream, pico, and then it has fries inside.
Nice.
And then
it's like animal style.
And then we put queso dip on it.
Oh God, which one's this? The California,
the
San
West
Diego
Coast
style. This one's called the West Coast.
Yes.
Note to self: West Coast burrito.
Yes.
Next time I get over there.
So yeah, and so now it's like in the beginning, like anything,
Yeah.
It was slow. Now it's like crazy, bro. Everyone's buying it, man.
Really?
So
I like it's unique. It's unique to your store. I can't go anywhere else.
No.
And get that.
Yeah.
And it sounds phenomenal.
Yeah. So we do that, the West Coast and the crunch wrap. I don't know if you try our crunch wraps. They're huge, bro.
Oh, really?
So we did our
You
It's
sell these from the
stacked.
truck?
Huh?
You sell them from the truck, or is
We
this
can
more restaurant
because
stuff?
the only restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah, because you could do more at the restaurant.
Right,
That's
yeah.
why. But you know, we can only do tacos and molitas and quesadillas on the trucks. But
You
over
want the-
here we expanded.
Yeah.
You get fresh guacamole. You get queso dip and crunch wrap. We get burritos. You get tostadas. We got bowls.
Oh,
If you don't want tortillas, we got the bowls, and those are really popular.
yeah.
So we stack them really well and stuff. So just a bigger menu, give people to enjoy different things. But yeah, but it's different. You know what I mean? It's not like I wanted it to be different, not like like any other Mexican restaurant.
Right. Right.
It's kind of more like my own style. Like if you
Right.
look at Chipotle, Chipotle
Yeah.
does their burritos and all that. Well, I wanted to be in that style, but in my version.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're creating and stuff.
Right.
So
I go wherever and get Mexican food or
Yeah.
some sort of rendition of it. But
Yes.
it's like if I want Marco's ghetto style,
Yes.
like I gotta go. There's only one place,
yes,
and I love that.
Yes.
because that will draw people in.
exactly.
There is like a not an ownership or whatever, but like there's like a pride, I guess.
Yes.
For at least for me,
Yes.
when I see Ghetto Tacos, like that's from where I'm from.
Yes.
Like that's he's my friend or whatever. I love telling people like
Yeah.
I know Marcos. We're buddies, dude. We
Yes.
go way back.
Yeah.
It's so cool. But like the brand of Ghetto is so cool to just be a part of, even though I've never worked
Yeah.
in the truck or anything, but just to associate with that and
Yeah.
say he's from where I'm from.
Yes.
That's so cool.
And that's where I would like people to feel that. How you feel, like there's some people feel that way, and that warms my heart because you guys are all part of the family. You know what I mean? And I just made a post 2 days ago. My wife did her own story, and it was powerful. Have you read it?
Ah,
On
she
Facebook?
wrote it out?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll check
And
it out.
so, man, it someone said, what she said, it made me so happy because I got to work with you at Downstream.
Oh.
And now hearing your story and where you heading, it makes me feel so good. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You know what I mean? We work together at just kind of like we work together at Downstream. And like I said, it's just, I'm just glad that I see people make part of our journey as well. You know what I mean? And
I love that.
so, yeah.
You remember Ross from Downstream? He's big, pretty tall guy.
Yeah.
Worked in the dish pit. Oh,
Yes.
I loved Ross. One time, it's probably 2019, before the pandemic. I had just left and was like kind of bumpy with everything. Nothing was very consistent.
Yeah.
And so of course the first thought in my head is like, oh, maybe I should go back.
Yeah.
And I bumped into Ross at Walmart, and we get to talking, and I was like, yeah, I was thinking about coming back and, trying to do it again. And he just stops. Like, he just stops and looks at me. And he goes, Colton, you coming back to Downstream, that would not be good. And I was like I wanted to react just like in conversation, like, yeah, I know what you mean. But it was so, the weight of his words were so heavy that I was thinking like, what do you, it's like, you're not meant to be there type of feeling, like, whoa. And for him to say that, like to be that truthful in that moment, like he could have just been like, cool, it would be great to see you back or whatever. Like, he took that moment and just nailed me with that truth bomb. And I will never forget that moment. Like,
that's powerful.
It was so powerful. I think about that a lot when I need to,
Yes.
It was a moment for sure, but
because it was, I see it as, like I said, it's not an accident. It's supposed to happen. And I could say honestly here, like when I just met you, I saw potential in you already, and I didn't even know your story, but I have that gift that God gave me, and that connection. It's like, man, this kid is special. Like, he has some talent. I don't even know what it is, but But the way you carry yourself and the way how your personality always been and how you are with people, and that opens a lot of doors.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's yourself, that's who you are. And I love that about you. And in that place, it was only temporary of the journey. And it's sometimes jobs are just temporary. They're part of the journey.
Mm-hmm.
You don't supposed to be there. It was only supposed to be there for a certain time.
Right.
But that is not our future.
Right.
And so him to tell you that is like, that's not, you don't supposed to be there.
Right.
You're better things are coming for you. You need to focus on those things.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that the guy told you. And sometimes, man, some people tell us, man, and when I left when me and my ex-wife, we separated and stuff, and I went through a hard time. And I was down, bro, like really down. And
Sure.
This was back in 2006. And I remember that back then I used to smoke. And I took a break and I went out there. And a guy was back there and he's like, "Can I talk to you?" I didn't even know this guy,
Some
bro. Stranger.
Wow.
Didn't even know the guy. He said, "Can I say something to you?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Stop thinking negative because he says, stop thinking negative because you think negative, you bring negative to yourself.
Wow.
But if you start thinking positive things are coming to your life." And that stuck to me. And to this day, bro.
Especially from a stranger. Usually it's like, "Can I have a light?
Yeah.
What time is it?"
Yes.
Stop thinking negatively.
Yes.
What?
Yes. And that changed my life, man. After that, I said, okay. And things started getting better for me. I had,
Did you like change your thinking? Like, did you kind of, you become more aware of it at that point?
So, man, it's kind of strange because, 2 weeks prior to that, I was working at Garfield's. I don't know if you remember Garfield's.
Yeah, I kind of do, yeah.
So I was the one of the workers there and stuff, and that day I was doing lunch, and I did $1,000 by myself.
Oh wow!
And I told Nate, one of my buddies, he was a kitchen manager. I was like, "Man, I did $1,000 by myself. You don't need no one else, Right, you know what I mean?"
Oh yeah.
And he was like, "Man, that's good, because he was just running the food." And at that moment, bro, I was walking out of the kitchen, stepping out, and I heard a voice. And at that time, I was not a believer or nothing like that. But it said, "From this day forward, you're going to own a lot of businesses." And I said, "What?"
Who said that?
Yes. And so I told Nate, I said, "Nate, a voice just told me I'm going to own a lot of businesses." And he laughed. And then after that guy told me that, and then 2 weeks later, someone offered me to be a partner at a Mexican restaurant in Carthage.
Nice.
And my part was going to be $8,000. I'm like, I don't even have $8,000.
Right.
I was broke.
Yeah.
And so I called my brothers in California, and one brother let me borrow $4,000, the other would let me borrow and still don't know how they let me borrow the money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we did it. We only last a year. Things didn't go well. They left me. I ended up shutting it. But I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I said, I don't know what happened, but I learned one thing from here. I took it with me. And then I opened the car lot with another guy that, hey, we should open a car lot. And then we end up opening a mechanic shop and doing tires and all kinds of stuff. We closed them, but I was learning all these things.
Right.
I was taking one thing from that
Yeah.
failure,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one, another, I took it in. And then in that process is what now who I am.
Right.
They were part of the journey.
Yes.
They were part of me learning. And now it's like I used to tell God, I said, "You prepare me for something bigger."
Yeah.
And God always told me, "I'm preparing for bigger things." So sometimes failure is the biggest lessons.
Right.
They're the biggest lessons, man. And so to me, it's like I took those lessons and apply them to what I do now.
Right. Like doing all those different things is the calibration process of finding what it is to do.
Yes.
Imagine if you just started out and Ghetto, like you started right at Ghetto,
Mm-hmm.
and it crashed and burned, and you gave up on it. Or if you had not done the triangle and just, no, I'm going to Joplin, like I want to do my own thing. You go to Joplin and they just like, we don't give permits.
Yeah.
You're like, man, this is tough. I can't even get started.
Exactly.
But because you're very intuitive and you listened and you act on what you hear or you feel, which I think is super important, then you have the ability to, while the calibration is happening, not just get beat up the whole time and lose money or lose sleep or whatever. It's like you're actually gaining wisdom.
Yes.
And technique and strategy and grit and all that stuff. Like you're not just, you're actually gaining value from those things.
Yes.
And that makes you it like carves your character. And that's arguably that's why Ghetto has such a strong brand, honestly. Is because of all the failures and the setbacks and the successes and the years that you put in making it into your own. It's like, how can that not be a brand?
Yes.
It's not just cookie cut from another taco truck. It's like this thing was built.
Yes.
And bled and tears.
Yes.
And strokes and all this.
Yes.
That's why it's so strong and so powerful.
Yes.
At least to me.
Yes. And the way you describe it, that's how it is, bro. You know what I mean? Like, but you know, to me, it's always someone you always gotta know your why.
Mm-hmm.
Why you doing it? Anything you do in life, you have to know your why. And I learned this in this book I read, and my niece asked me, like, what is your why? Why are you doing this? And it reminds me of one of my brother-in-law told me, he's like, the Renterias are not born to be entrepreneurs. Your dad always said that you guys are not built for businesses. That fired me, bro. That was the fuel for me. And I said, I'm going to show that we are built for it. We're not born, we build ourselves. And I think that was my why. That's still my why.
Yeah.
That is possible. That you could do anything you want to do in this life. Like, God is a big God. God is not a small God. And if you could visualize yourself, anything you want to accomplish, you can do it. Because I'm witness of that with my own life. A kid that what I could say, me growing up in the ghetto, from South Central LA, from building gangs. You don't know that side, like building gangs in LA and building a gang in Mexico, running a gang and doing all these things and, you know, drugs and all that. And I've come from the streets. And to change my life, to God change my life to be where I'm at, like that's why, you know, my own family in the beginning, they doubted me. They didn't believe in me because I don't know if I could say a bad word here, but
of course,
yeah, they always call me a fuck up. You're just a fuck up, and you always will be. I said no. I could be better. And that's when that few of that in that time was like when he told me that, like, I'm going to show you. I'm going to do whatever it takes. And I'm going to do it. And I think that is the few. And I think that anyone, even you, any entrepreneur, any person out there that wants to start their business, I would say that know your why. Why are you doing it? Because a lot of people that start their own food trucks, they've been coming to me, and I kind of share my input, and they ask me a lot of questions, and that's what I ask them. I'm like, you got 3 categories. Are you doing this to replace your income? Are you doing this because it's a hobby? Or are you doing this to become a brand? You have 3. Which one you fit in? If you fall into the 2, you know, you only do it for fun. Do it on the weekends. But if you're doing it to become a brand, know that it's going to take more than you think. That you are willing to sacrifice a lot of things. You got to say no to more things than yes to things. Are you willing to do that? You're good to go. I'm just letting you know. Like that, you don't spend $30,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You're not gonna spend $30,000. You're spending all this money, but it's up to you. But I wish you the best. And to me, I want to see people successful. Like I share like everything. I don't keep secrets, bro.
Yeah.
I don't. I tell them the truth. How it is, what you need to do, how can you get started? Because I want them to do better than me. And I think to me, that's important to me. Like I want to see people successful. Because if I could see people successful, then I accomplish something. And it's not about me, bro. It's about the team. It's about everyone else.
Right.
So
if they succeed, you succeed.
Exactly.
You know, in a way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's I think that is what Marcos is. I think I have never shared this with a lot of people.
I believe it.
You got some things that I've never talked about.
Yeah.
But it's probably because they're meant to be.
Yeah. Well, I thank you for sharing. Like I said, we've known each other for a long time. And to hear some of those things, it's kind of like some of them I knew, but you've never said. But some of the things that you said, you know, think, oh, I can see that now. And I can see that drive in you. And I relate with that too. I think a lot of people do, you know, the doubt and the mockery and all of that. That's a pretty universal feeling.
Yeah.
So you're not alone there for sure.
Yeah.
And you've definitely proved them wrong many times over. I'm very proud of you, man. Proud of what you've done. Proud to be your friend, and love to see what will continue to transpire through your efforts and your sacrifices, and what will come of whatever you do. I'm very excited for that.
Yeah. I'm excited for you too, man. Like, to you, it's like with the cameras and everything, and with AI, you know, coming out, it's man, you could do so many things because
Mm-hmm.
you know I'm not studying it, but I see it, and
Yeah.
like I said, but you're gifted, man. You're gifted in what you do, and never doubt yourself. You know what I mean? Like, because I see you capable of doing it, and I know that you have some good stuff coming up. You know
I
what
do.
I mean?
Yeah. I
So stay in that belief, stay in that vision. Don't you know? For me, it's like, you know, I don't know if you're a believer, but I always put God first in all my projects, in all my ideas, anything I do. I always invite Him first, because if He's not with me, I'm not moving.
Don't want it. Yeah.
I don't want it.
Yeah.
I don't, because He's not part of it. My vision not aligning with His vision.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, too, if it comes to a point that He wants to move me, I'm okay with that. I'm an obedient. I want to be an obedient.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's His choice, not mine.
Yeah. You're insanely motivational. I'll say, like, I feel I'm fired up. Just hearing your story, and then your words of encouragement. Like, and of course, knowing where I am in life, like, kind of needed those.
Yeah.
Those, like, that calibration of, like, hey, don't worry.
Yeah.
Do the positive. Like, a lot of these thoughts I think about often, but it's kind of like, is that woo? Is that just woo-woo stuff? You know, it's like, am I being silly?
Yeah.
Am I being, you know, arrogant, overconfident or whatever? But it's like, to hear it from you, it's like, nope, I'm good. I'm locked in. So you say you want to be a motivational speaker. It's like, you are. You are to me. I'll say that.
Yeah. No, because I tell you, because I see it in you. Like, you know, it's just something, like, it's yourself. You know what I mean? You always being yourself. But it's always that heart that you have, that God gave you. It's just like, that is going to open so many doors that you never thought of. Honestly. You haven't even touched the, I don't know what, but you know what I mean? You haven't even touched the peak of it.
That's good.
You know what I mean? So this thing that you have going on, you have something special, man. And I tell you, because I tell you with the bottom of my heart that you're gonna accomplish what you have in your heart. But you just gotta keep going. Like, even when we make mistakes, learn from the mistakes, adjust, and keep doing, just like you did with jiu-jitsu, how you did with kickboxing. You adjust, and you did it. Right. And you keep doing it, and you, just like with this, you adjust. And you, now it's like, it doesn't matter who I bring here. What matters is that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yep.
And that's what you're supposed to be doing.
Exactly.
You know? And of all of that, it's just, that's the beauty of it. Hearing people's story, and one thing of all this, in the record what comes out, something is gonna touch out your heart. And you're like, I never caught this. But you know, now this is gonna help me to see the things differently, in a different way. So that's the part of it. Like I said, man, I'm humble that you open your space for me. Like, you know, like, you don't know how much, but I'm really happy that you open your space, where you at, and what you're doing with your life, and and even with your family and all that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's awesome, man. Because to me, it's just the beginning, man.
Mm.
You know, how long you been doing this? How long you been doing this?
The podcast?
No,
Like,
with everything.
oh,
And
since
the-
high school, man.
Yeah. Podcast, everything. How long you been doing?
2 decades. I mean, video since high school, and then podcast like 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah.
You're about to reap your fruits.
Let's do it.
You're going to. But you just switched it. You said
Mhm.
it doesn't matter who I bring now.
Right.
Now it's like you're those sacrifice
Mm-hmm.
that you put in. Like you haven't really see what you wanted
Mm-hmm.
to receive, but I feel like now it's time to reap
Sounds
and
good
be
to me.
ready, be
Yeah.
prepared.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Because I'm willing to say a lot of no's
Yeah.
to say yes.
Right. Right.
Because that's what they say, you know, learn to say no.
Mm-hmm.
You know, before, you know, in the beginning, I used to do churches, do this event. I went from one in the like 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock or 3 lunch, and then from there I moved from 4 to 7, and it just like that,
Nonstop.
nonstop.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to say no.
Right.
But those yeses got me to my stroke.
Right. Right. Right.
See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn to say no. Now I know. Now, now I do my schedule
Mm-hmm.
based on what I could do, what my team could do, and we could be productive. We could do really good.
Right.
I'm not gonna overcharge their engine anymore,
Right.
because I want them to become fresh, and I want them to be happy where they're at.
Right.
And that's trying to be a good leader, man.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because if you work them, they ain't gonna want to do it.
No.
You know what I'm
Talk
saying?
about the service that they give, or the care that they give for the food, or anything. You know, just the vibe they bring.
Yeah.
It's.
So it's a lot of, like I said, it's a lot of detail,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things that I have learned, and you know, since the beginning to now, and the more things that I'm gonna learn, because every day I learn,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But it's always be open-minded,
Mm-hmm.
you know, open-minded. Like, dude, let me research this.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Always
know?
learning. Student of life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like researching,
Mm-hmm.
because I want to be better. If I want to be a better leader, I gotta read how to become a better leader.
Right. Pay attention to the ones that are good leaders.
Mm-hmm.
What are they doing right? What are they doing wrong?
Mhm.
Adapt that to yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Love that.
But yeah, man. I know you got some good questions, and I'm waiting for those. I want to hear your heart.
Mm.
You are gifted. And I said, Colton got some good questions for me.
Yeah, I mean, your story alone has been like fascinating. I wasn't sure we've just talked, you know, short bursts or whatever, so I
Yeah.
wasn't sure how long a long conversation would be. And you've been amazing. It's like there's so much to talk about. I'm just kind of like,
Roll with it.
yeah, I just
Yeah.
what comes out, like, okay, cool. Then the next one, like,
Yeah.
cool.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yes.
Now we're 3 hours and 20 minutes in, bro.
What?
We're at the end.
No.
We're at 3 hours and 18 minutes right now.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
man. It went fast, didn't it?
I know, doesn't it?
Oh, wow.
It's one of those things where it doesn't really happen in real life, like where you're not checking your phone or interrupted.
Yeah.
Dad, can I go out to play or whatever?
Yeah.
It's like we're just locked in.
Yes.
And that's how you get to those depths of things that maybe you've never told anyone,
Yeah.
or you've never been able to actually think about long enough to articulate.
Yes.
That's why I like to go those long hours
Yes.
and really wade through stuff.
Yes.
Because there's the story of your snowstorm. Like,
Yeah.
that might have not come up in 30 minutes. It would have been too much. It
Yeah.
took us a while to
Yeah.
get down there. And it's like, I want to share this with you, you know.
And you know, all those the thoughts, like when we're conversating, they were popping on my head.
Yeah.
Like, talk about this.
Right. Well, that's what you prayed for.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And it was like, okay. And then he brought me to talk about this on the last of my why. Because I think the why is the most important of all this. You know what I mean? The why. Why are you doing this? And to me, man, that's what gets me going, man. Every day I wake up and let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think that once people discover their why, the rest is history.
Yep. The why gives you that direction.
Yes.
And once you have that direction, then it feels good to make progress towards the target or the goal or whatever.
Yes.
That's totally.
Yes. So
You got to get back into the kitchen and
do.
work on your, what are you making?
I'm gonna go make some lengua. We have that's our,
Are you really?
Yeah. So that's our special meat for tomorrow.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yeah.
It's like my favorite.
Yeah. So we're having lengua tomorrow. So I got to get back in there and then work on that one.
Oh yeah, what was it?
No, we're gonna talk about. we got out of the camera.
I had to try.
Yeah, I know.
I wanted to break it on the show.
But yeah, we'll talk about that. But yeah, get back in the kitchen a little bit and then head home and get some rest. Be ready for the week. We got a good week this weekend, and it's awesome, man.
Sounds good.
So. Thank you again.
Absolutely.
Thank you for everything. Thank you for this time. And went quick. Never thought that. And honestly, man, God is good, man. He I feel relaxed, man.
Yeah, very. Yeah.
Really relaxed, being myself. And,
good.
And I never thought there would be, man.
Yeah. I try to set the stage where it's just, no pressure. Talk about whatever you want, not want. I'm not going to go anywhere.
Yeah. No, you're doing a good job, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Man.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. Your restaurant, I always say it's by Atwood's, but if you're not from Joplin, how do you?
So it's 536 North East Street in Webb City.
There you go.
And we're right one block down from Tea Time.
That's right. That's right.
Tea Time's over there.
That's why you got into golf.
Huh? Yeah,
That's why you got into golf. On your lunch break, just kind of walk over. This is fun.
Yeah. I'm more in the Tea Time golf than cooking some tacos over there.
There you go. That actually sounds like a good evening right there.
But you travel, people traveling, people from who's going to listen, they're from other states or whatever, they coming through I-44, stop by and try some Ghetto Taco. We call it Ghetto Taco Shop.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the rest is Ghetto Tacos and stuff, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, or catch you at one of the big events coming up.
Yeah.
Look for the black truck.
Yeah, like us on Facebook, you know what I mean? Follow us. Every Monday we post our schedule. Yeah, so we have like I say, you surround yourself with good team. I got someone that takes care of all the social media and all that.
Yes, sir.
So that person does all that stuff, and got another person doing all the caterings and all that.
Nice.
She takes the calls. She talks to people. She set up the caterings and everything. So, and then my wife runs the restaurant and stuff like
nice.
that.
So you have a great team.
That's what I say. Everyone has their input into what they do and stuff. So, where we make it easier on ourselves.
Yes. That's how you ascend the levels.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, brother.
I love you, dude.
Man, I love you too,
Thank you
brother.
for sharing those good words, the words of encouragement and your story. One of the best podcasts. I've enjoyed myself so much, and love to have you back. Talk about the early days.
Yes.
I've never heard any of those stories. So,
and I hope we bless someone through this story. But at the end of the day, like I said, God takes the glory. I'm just part of the journey. And thank you everyone that's listening and believe in yourself, because you have a purpose in this life.
Absolutely. I love that. I think a lot of people will be blessed. I think people are really going to enjoy it. So appreciate it, brother.
Thank you, brother.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that. Marcos from Ghetto Tacos. And go check his restaurant out outside Web City, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Web City. And the schedule is posted on Facebook every Monday to find out where the truck will be. So go get you some. And the new menu item will be out soon. You'll have to keep an eye out for it. Yeah. Once Marcos gets the recipe right. Yep. And yeah, so anyway, thanks for listening. Have a great week. Peace.
Sci-Fi with